Oh, we got some position, Rick. Oh, crap. There we go.
You all right?
How you doing, bud? You good?
Yeah. Bad?
Good week. What's it been like weather-wise for you, mate, down there?
All right. Yeah.
It's been all right. That's a surprise, actually. I thought you might have turned around and said it's been it's been a little bit ropey, but temperatures have been mad up here, mate. Absolutely crazy. -8 last night. Forecast to drop to -12 tonight, supposedly. Don't know if it will, but
Yeah, we've had a couple of cold nights, but not horrendous.
with pond temperatures, not yesterday evening before, down to 0.9 in my pond. Everything's shut off, everything down, everything's closed off. It's only a little thin covering of ice. It's about half a cm thick. And I've just thought, that's it. Too risky to leave it. Water's starting to build up. It's starting to freeze out around returns and everything. So I just thought, sod that. We're turning it all off. Leave the air going in the filter system. Close the filter shed up, which I had to melt my way in. I had to pour boiling water over it because the door was froze shut. Padlock was frozen solid. Couldn't put a key in. Absolute nightmare.
Yeah, we've not been. It's been cold, but you're frost or whatever. Night, Ez.
Night.
Night, Ez.
Mate. Say night, Jazz.
Night.
Good night, bud. And hi, bud. Good night. DT says, and it's good to see you back, mate. Hope you're well, bud. It's been garbage here, Gaz. It has, mate. It's been absolutely freezing. Proper dropped off. Got a good evening from Sarah Halliwell, the novice goalkeeper. Good evening. And again from Matt Childs. Susan has had some really good news. She's got no KHV, so it's just a bacterial infection. So hopefully, fingers crossed, with the treatments that 3 of the koi have already healed and 8 are healing up now. No new sick fish. That's fantastic. Brilliant news, Susan. I'm glad you've managed to get things under control and hopefully things will get back to normal and right back on track as to where you should be. Right then, 88 watching and only 24 thumbs. They've literally only just got in, Rob Fox, but thank you very much, mate. Appreciate the push for people to give us a thumbs up. Greatly appreciated. We've got a few invites out as usual. We've got one for Matt, I would imagine. He has sent me a thumbs back up, so I imagine he's getting one back. I have sent one out to Crafty and I have sent one out to Ryan if he wants to jump in and have a go. Actually, what I didn't do is bang out. In fact, I shall do that. I shall take a quick copy of that.
You're losing it, mate, aren't you?
There is a link. Well, no, the link's there for anybody. If anybody does want to come on and join us this evening and have a natter and a chat with us, the link is there at the top of the comments. Feel free to click it and jump in and come and say hello.
Yes. Well,
it's official, mate.
It's official.
It's official.
Tickets are booked.
It's definitely official. I've got my flight tickets. We are going to Japan. It is officially booked, paid for, and we set off at the silly o'clock on. Well, actually, we'll probably be setting off at silly o'clock on the 23rd to arrive at the airport for 5 in the morning and then get us playing. I think it's 8-ish, something like that. So we'll be flying over on the 24th. Straight to Tokyo hotel and straight to the All Japan
biggest koi show on earth.
Biggest koi show in the world, mate. Absolutely buzzing. I can't wait to see.
You do realise, mate, that once you've seen that,
I know. A few people have said that, mate, but you've got to respect people's fish for what they are. And beauty in fish is beauty in fish. These may be better. There might be some that I think over there or over here have been better than them. Who knows? You never know, do you? Till you experience it, I'm not going to know. But I am super looking forward to it. And I intend to get as much footage as I can throughout the show. But one thing I won't be doing is I won't be going around and saying the people's names per vat, per fish. We're just going to breeze through it because there are, I think, over 1,000 vats. With several, something like that. Or is it 1,000 fish that compete?
Yeah, more fish.
It might be 1,000 to 2,000 fish that compete, but that's a hell of a lot of vats. Can't imagine being able to look at that amount of fish without going fish blind. I think one fish is going to pretty much look like another one, isn't it? But from what I've seen in previous shows and what I've watched online, it looks an awesome experience. So we're going to get to go there first. So we did 2 days there at the All Japan show. And then after the All Japan show, a 4-hour trade journey to Niigata and smash around as many koi farms as we possibly can. And hopefully peel off as many of Lee Hadfield stickers as I can get off.
You just stick yours over top.
That's what I said. He said, you're going to need a lot of stickers. I thought, yeah, you're damn right, I will. But unfortunately, Lee's not coming, which is I'm gutted because I fair looked forward to having a good bit of laugh and a banter with him. But on this occasion, he isn't coming due to his commitments with what he's doing with the new tattoo studio. So I hope everything's going well for you, mate. I hope everything's coming together good. Good evening, Matt. How are we doing?
Matthew.
Good evening, gents and everybody else.
Gents.
How's the weather down your way?
At the moment, we've still got 3 inches of snow.
3 inch?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got one of those Japanese rulers, isn't he? It's about that.
We must have had at least 14, 15 inches the first night it snowed, which weren't too bad. It weren't too bad at all, to be fair, because it weren't all that cold with it. But the minute that all that snow settled, the following day it started to defrost. And as it starts to defrost, it shrinks down and it froze solid. And I mean rock solid. I've been jumping on it and stamping on it in my work boots, and I couldn't even put a dent in it. Couldn't get my vehicle out for shit, man. It was wheel spinning everywhere. It was a nightmare. And then we've had day after day, 5 or 6 snow showers through day. I set off this morning and it wasn't snowing, but I got halfway, got onto the motorway and it was snowing like hell. And the motorway within 15, 20 minutes was completely covered over. It looked like about an inch of snow dropped in a matter of minutes. It was bad, going over tops. And all the way through to site this morning thinking, this is crazy. People are just driving at 5 and 10 mile an hour on a motorway, 5 and 10 mile an hour. But I'm thinking, this is mad. Crazy. It took me ages to get to it. Absolute nightmare.
And you got none at yours, mate?
Nothing.
I'm 20 miles, no, 30 miles from that.
Yeah. That's mad, isn't it? You won't believe the difference.
I had to go into Dorchester to the vets today, and that's only literally 8-minute drive. And you pull up onto the main road, up onto the top, and there was no snow anywhere. And you can actually see like a bowl of snow down in our valley. Yeah,
that's what it's like for us, mate. I'm literally one of the third highest places in Huddersfield. And when we could drop off from where I live up on top of this hill, when I drop off and down, you can see there's less snow by about half the amount, but it's still all there. It used to be like a dual carriageway all way, but now there's only part of the road that's a dual carriageway. But that dual carriageway is still just closed down to one lane because all the rest of the snow is 6 to 8 inch, maybe 12 inch deep everywhere.
It's mad though, where we can't count like over in Japan in January, February, probably 8 feet of snow.
I know, that's what I mean. We can't manage it with a couple of inch, and yet everywhere else in the world, what they get is.
Used to go to Norway every winter fishing, and all the houses there, they're upside down houses. And the idea is that the snow comes up and covers up all the ground floor windows. So you live up on the top floor window so you can actually see out. And life just carries on. You know, they get to a point that everybody changes over their tyres, goes on to winter tyres, and that's it. Carry on. Here, there's a chance of snow in 1 week's time. We're going to have to shut the schools now just in case.
Yeah, but they see, right, my wife works in a school. She's been reading lots of like reports and what have you, and stuff where people have been saying, like back in the day when I were at school in 1976, we never missed a school day. We never had a day off of school. We used to walk there, and teachers used to walk to school. But the difference is now is everybody commutes from everywhere, don't they? So there's people coming in. Teachers are coming in and traveling 50, 60 mile to get to a school to teach nowadays. You ain't walking that distance, are you? And when you get there at school playground now, because of health and safety and all the rest of it, kids aren't allowed to go out and play in it and have fun and snowball fight like we used to do and, lake around for a full day. You're stuck with everything gets shut down and schools close. And some schools like my wife's, the reason why theirs closes is it's another school that has a bigger kitchen than what they've got, only a small catering kitchen. All their meals are made for the kids at the second school. So if that school is not accessible, that forces closure on other schools because they provide the meals and lunches for all those kids that are there in attendance. So that's, normally there's a lot of reasons behind it. But yeah, everybody commutes left, right, and centre, don't they? They're not like we used to be. There's not very many people that work in their own town these days. Most people are commuting from one area to another, and vice versa. They're commuting from there over here. It's all messed up, innit?
Bonkers. Matt's works from home. It's the way forward.
Well, yeah, there is that, isn't there? There's a lot of people that might not get affected as much that do work from home anymore. Let's have a quick look at this one before we move on to some of the questions that are coming in. The vet feels the fluke allowed bacteria to get in into the fluke bites, and there wasn't many flukes though. I treat 3 times now for flukes and still found 2 gill flukes off 10 scrapes, so I've got to treat again.
You can if you've got enough flukes to do damage, it does leave fish susceptible, but the sort of problem she's had isn't from flukes causing a bit of damage and then suddenly getting a bacterial problem that affects all the fish. But you do want to get rid of the flukes whilst you're at it. And it's like anything. If you damage your skin, you're open to fungus and bacteria.
Susceptible to infection, aren't you, from it? Yeah, if you get it's one of those things. I'm just glad that you've managed to get on top of it, Susan, and you found out what it is that was actually causing the problem from the tests that you had done. That's the main thing. The main thing is that you don't have to put up with any more of those fish getting ill or any further damage to any of your stock, which is the main thing. We've got a question from Sarah that says, is there anything we can do on an unheated pond to help the fish in it? I.e., I'm guessing through winter periods.
Salt.
Salt can help them through a bad situation. But yeah, I mean, there's whatever you can do to keep the wind chill off it. Yeah, if it's proper cold, then obviously stop the circulation as much as possible. Like you have, basically, it's got to a point where running the filters is detrimental.
Yeah, and that was, honest to God, that temperature went from 3.5 degrees to 0.9 degrees within the time that I was at work and returned back home. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man, that's a massive drop, and that's come down cold. But it was -7.
There's people walking past, mate. They're all at the window.
I mean, salt ain't going to do very much to help them. Believe it or not, they're all still sat there. They're all hunkered up. But if I walk up to the edge of the pond now, they're all there, pecks out, hunkered up, parked up alongside each other, and they literally, if I walk up to the pond, they all just have a little swim away, and then they come back and just park back up again. So they're all fine. There's not a single fish that's struggling with it. They're not, like sometimes you could see them in the past when I've had one or two that have rolled over a bit onto the side, like, and not been upright. But I've got nothing that seems to be struggling at all, which is good. Fingers crossed so far. But now I've technically got my pond covers on because it's frozen over. So that should keep the wind chill off it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when it freezes, you'll get the warmer water at the bottom. I say warmer, it might only be 2 degrees rather than being mixed up and being all 1 degree.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, doesn't sound like a lot, 1 degree, but it's twice as warm.
Twice as warm, yeah. So if it goes back up to 3 or 4 degrees, being as it is now with having everything shut down, it was too risky. It was in the filter house, it was fine. Everything's fluid and everything's still moving. So all I've done is switched it off. I've left the air on in all 3 chambers, but they've stopped at the stage of where they would flow to the next barrel, which is all the media soaked and covered with water. But I've just put aeration through all 3 of them to keep as much as alive as I possibly can. And when it comes to switching it all back on again, it'll be dumped out, flush out that water, refill it with fresh water out of the pond, and then switch it back on. And then it's going to be a case of going around and checking everything to make sure I've got no leaks. I wanted to make sure that I know that if I switch my system off, short term, 10, 15, 20 minutes, the non-return valve will hold water there enough for me to get it primed back up after I've cleaned each filter cycle each time. But if I leave it for like 2 hours, 3 hours, then that pipe drains back into pond. So I know there's no water in my system. The only thing that's got water in is the filter system inside the shed. The trickle tower on the outside is completely drained down. And that was where I noticed it. It was when I popped the lid off to have a look, it was forming ice on the inside of it. I thought, this is not good. If that's starting to freeze here now, that's moving water flowing there. The next stage is all pipe work freezing. So shut it down. And
it's got to be done. That's just how
it is. It's that, or I'm going to damage pumps, burst pipes, and then I'm not going to know, and it's going to be late. Pond's going to be empty, and everything's going to be dead. So it's just not worth the risk, especially with the shut-off valve, which is freezing on the surface of the water. So it ain't going to drop. It's just going to stay there and keep running. So,
yeah. Matt's having a chat with someone in the sky.
Pam's just walked in and went, rude. And I was like, what? Clicked. I pulled myself one.
Good evening, Pam.
I thought she was on the table giving you a lap dance, mate.
I hope she's feeling better, mate. She better?
She's still in the pajamas, so she won't come on.
No.
She's getting better, Punky.
this cough of mine, it will still won't go, still won't clear. It's still doing mad.
Yeah, it just hangs on and hangs on.
Step outside into cold and it makes me cough like mad.
You'd have to get yourself a mask for Japan, mate. They won't be happy if you go coughing all over them.
I'm not Gaz. Yeah, I'm not coughing.
Gaz is. Go around the All Japan show and cough on everyone. You'll be.
I'm hoping by that time. It will be. That's it's a fair few days yet. So hopefully, everybody else in the family that got it before me is already getting to a point where it's hardly even bothering them now. So I'm hoping that in another week or two, mine should be all cleared up and all sorted out. There we go. Right, so there you could put a bit of salt in your water, Sarah, to help. It won't make no difference to the non-freezing side of things, but it could ease the stress somewhat for them. Yeah,
waterfalls. The worst thing is like those stainless steel blades. They look lovely, but my God, they chill the water. That's the only times I've really seen, frozen fish basically. Yeah, and they obviously the metal conducts the cold, the water's flowing over it, exposed into the air. They are great in the summer, but not so good on the cold.
Not a good idea when it comes to winter months. Cold metal, chilling water, obviously.
Insulating, even simple things like, if you've got a shower on your pond, insulate in the shower. It's just going to stop. You don't need all the air going through it when it's cold. You don't need the amount of oxygen. If you're going to run it, you can wrap it with something or box it in or whatever. But today was a prime example, man. The sun, I went through one of our fish houses on the other site and it was so cold. It was just like freezing. Ponds all getting ice on them. I walked round the corner into a polytunnel. It was 20 degrees easy. It's just the difference.
I was shocked today, Rick. The first time I spent the whole day in the polytunnel and the heat in there was unbelievable.
So amazing, isn't it? So for the one I'm doing an experiment, the new one I've done, the little one, I've set it up so it's running east to west, got complete sun at a low level. The vats are sat right down low, so they're getting as much light as I can possibly get in them. And then I've got big reflective. So the whole back of the tunnel is now going to be reflective material and angle. So you imagine slightly over the pond. So any sun coming in at low angles coming back down into the ponds. And I reckon they'll run 10 degrees above ambient in there with no cost. Which, wow, it's quite a monstrous gain. I'm not saying it, but there's another little tunnel going in as well, which I'm designing at the minute. So it'll obviously be quite a low tunnel over the pond. So any sun coming in that's heating the water will go straight through that second tunnel. But the reflected sun will also come from the tunnel from the other side. And then it all just gets trapped in there. So it should just turn. And
well, in theory, you did it when you put some up to reflect the heat, didn't you? And it worked.
I did the other way around in the summer to shade them.
To cool it down, to shade it off.
Yeah, so this will work both ways as well, because once the sun gets to a certain height, it will start actually to create shade, which is what they get too hot. So yeah, I'm just balancing it now, but we should get that on video somewhere.
You wake up in the middle of the night with these, like, I got it. I know what I'm going to do.
Literally all the time, mate. And I go to Vince, I've got a new plan today. I'm doing this. What are we doing? And I've come back with something else. And it's the best bit, isn't it? If you can run a pond for 40 watts and have it running 10 degrees above ambient, you're winning on every scale, aren't you?
Is this
might look a mess? That's the problem. It might look a mess.
This is Matt's just sent us a little video of his polytunnel.
All neat and tidy. What's that all about?
Until you get inside.
Oh, you got to breathe in to get between those two ponds, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got one customer already I found that can't get down through there. But to be
tight though, mate, that's tight, isn't it? There's definitely no DDA access there.
No, definitely not. It was literally, I wanted every bit of area inside there to be used for the water.
So how's that door sliding past your air source heat pump?
It doesn't. It stops short.
Way, doesn't it? All right.
All right. Yeah, I'll do a video of mine. It doesn't look like that though.
And then there's
What's
obviously
what's this bit there then?
there's another air source heat pump to go in there. So
I'll
each
go
of
in
the
there, right.
all 3 ponds, but I've had to put the timber over it to stop the sheep going in there.
It's an everyday problem, isn't it? My little tight. He's got sheep that are like.
Have you tied those? Have you tied these other two? I'll go back to that. Have you tied this pond and that pond into this one then? Or have you just buttered up?
What with the? Are you talking about the block work?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all tied in. Yeah, it's tied in at the end.
Is that wall part of that back pond? And then those two just tied into corners?
Yeah. So all of the corners
So
are tied
you're using both sides of that one wall.
Yeah. So
technically, any heat that you're losing from one should go to the other.
Go to the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the weight is transferring from one pond
it's
to the other.
transferred both ways, isn't it? You've got weight of pressure of water being pushed back on both sides.
Yeah, do you walk down the middle and the walls come inwards?
Oh, can you imagine that? I don't bear thinking about.
Well, you just have to hold your breath for about 40 odd seconds while it all floods out the door. Because it'd go pretty quick.
So Matt's is like the nice, clean, tidy job. My effort's not quite the same.
Yeah, good when it's done. Well, it's got 2 weeks to be finished, and it's got to be up and going.
I like the fact that you've not got those low-level bars running across the middle, which normally give the strength across. Having them that way down the full length of it to give it its strength, because those sometimes on a lower roof, you can crack your head off them, can't you? Especially when you get to the curved side of it, where the pitch is lower.
It's the same with those angle supports at the end of the polytunnel.
Them ones.
Where they're actually coming up higher, but they've designed them in a way that I'm actually connecting up higher to the second loop so that it doesn't overhang the walls, because I've still yet got to work out the filtration on it.
Oh,
where I'm going to do it, and where I'm going to put it.
Where's it going?
Yeah, exactly. The M one's easy.
You could run your pipe work up underneath here and build a decked walkway over top of it.
Like Japan, tunnel's not got the height anymore.
I've got 10 centimeters between the wall and the polytunnel, so pipe work can go up through there if it needs to. But you can see the end of the polytunnel on that pond there. There's a drum there, and then there's two either side of the door.
So you've got equally as much space there as what you have at this back end here.
No, this end here's got basically the wall going straight over. So I've got a 2-foot gap all the way along through there. But at the other end, I was originally going to do exactly the same, copy it. But then I thought, well, hang on a moment, on the right-hand side there's going to be wasted area there because there's nothing going to be in there. So that pond is only...
out.
Yeah, I have basically. So the drum is enclosed in an area there and the pond goes further back.
Box welds?
Of course.
Of course. Why the hell not?
Gonna look nice. Just got to then buy some fish to fill them up.
Yeah, that's the plan.
I hope you've got some deep wallets for Japan then when you get others.
Ryan's like this. He's seen that, right?
That's some space to fill there. There's plenty of water, mate. You'll be getting plenty of fish in there, won't you? Are you getting fish? Are you going to get fish in there to grow on?
A bit of both. I've got one whole shed that's empty, no fish in it. And I've got the polytunnel to fill as well.
Yeah.
So in effect, I've got 6. But the issue's got on the shed side of it, none of it's heated. So everything's got to come into the pond.
Intention then to stock up the sales area, and then maybe some of these or some of them used as growing on facilities for buy some tosai and sell them on at Nisai, Yonsai, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously the quarantine side of it as well. I can now keep everything totally separate. So nothing's going to get anywhere near the other sheds until they've cleared their 6 weeks.
Sweet. Happy days. Now then, we had a little chat about something this week, should I say, me and you, Matt. Has it come to fruition? Do we know if it's definitely happening? Are we announcing it or are we not announcing it?
Yeah, I had a message earlier on because I said, can I announce it? And the answer was most definitely yes. I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet. So that
So-
will be, hang about, what date will it be next Thursday? Let me just double check. That'll be next Thursday, the 16th. Now, what I am going to be doing is the 16th and then the 23rd, and we travel on that evening. So there will be a live on the 23rd, but it might finish a little earlier than normal.
It's fine. He's going to do it on the road.
No, it's not. I'm fortunate enough that Jeff Lees is picking me up. So Jeff's going to be coming over to pick me up, and he's aiming it to be here about midnight-ish, I think. So, I mean, I'm just going to be sat here like that, buzzing my tits off, super excited, thinking, oh my God, we're going to Japan. So I might as well do that live with you guys instead. But may possibly have to finish a little earlier. So, but next week, as Matt and me were just saying then, we have a special guest that'll be joining us. Over to you, Matt.
Well, in jest then, so when I said to Rick yesterday about it, we've got a person coming from TikTok who is really into her koi. She's got something like 87,000 followers, and she's going to come on and talk about her experiences with her koi and her recent pond build that she's just done.
Excellent. Can't go wrong with that.
Info will be in the description or what have you for next week, and I'll obviously, when I post out if anybody's got any questions or comments. But I thought it'd be really nice to see, because there's not, although I know there are ladies out there in the community, and I know there are lady koi keepers out there, there's not very many of them that do anything that I've got a channel as such. I'm not saying there isn't. I'm saying there's not very many of them, and we've never had. Don't think we've had. Well, we've had one or two, but not a great deal of people that have come on.
Vicky, don't you go upset?
I didn't say. Well, no, because Vicky doesn't just do koi, does she? She does tropicals as well, and goldfish and fancy goldfish as everything else. So she's more of an all-rounder. Whereas this lady has just literally done a koi pond build, and it should be really nice to see and get a different perspective from somebody else out there on a different platform to see how she's gone about it. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, she should be joining us next week.
Excellent.
More to come.
Yeah, I'll be on good behaviour.
Cool. Yes, apparently you need to
You
be,
need to be Rick.
on the 16th. She will be joining us. If not, then she'll be coming for the exciting night, which will be the 23rd, before we go to Japan. So we'll all be buzzing. Well, I will anyway.
We can do a wave you off thing. Everybody can wave to Gaz.
Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye.
Yeah.
I swear to God, mate. I'm gonna ask every farm that I go to, got any jobs going? And if any of them say they've got any jobs going, I ain't coming back. I'm gonna stay there forever, or maybe a couple of years. Learn the trade. Maybe 5 or 6. But yeah, a guest to join us next week. Following week after will be the live prior to going to Japan. Now, obviously, I did say that I would mention this for Marcus and for Ryan. Both Ryan and Marcus, Kaizuko Koi and exclusively Koi, have sponsored and paid for absolutely everything for me to get there. So what I have said is, if anybody is interested, anybody at all, and you are after any in particular or specific types or whatever, anybody's interested or wants anything, feel free to contact me via the email, which is gazerskoipond1@virginmedia.com. Description can be found on my actual YouTube channel, and I will show you where it is so that you can see it for yourselves. But if anybody would like anything and wants to contact me, if you've already got my details, if you've already got my number, or if you've got me on Facebook, you want to send me a message or message you from Facebook, feel free, any way, shape, or whatever. But if we can, what I'd like to do is see if I can get a little bit of business both for Ryan and for Marcus, because obviously they've been good enough to do what they're doing. So it would be my way of giving a little bit of something back. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, it is Gaz's Koi Pond one, which is GAZS koipond1@virginmedia.com. So if anybody wants to find it, this is where it would be, and you are more than welcome to get in touch. If you go to my homepage and then click on this where it says more, it brings up there, which is my contact email address. Feel free to get in touch, or you can get me on all those others as well. If you want to tag along, join, follow, subscribe, whichever to any of them.
You social media queen.
Look at that. There were loads there, weren't there? Huh? Even got
Jesus.
X. They're all there, look. Instagram, X, Facebook, Discord.
On X. When did you last
TikTok.
comment on X?
When was the last time? About
Before we know his Twitter.
about 3 days ago when I
Was
posted
it?
my shot on there.
Blind.
Me and Elon Musk, mate, we're like that.
I know, he's always over it these days, isn't he?
But yeah, if anybody's interested, there's an option and a chance. If I can find something for you, I don't mind having a look out there. But obviously, I'm going to be over there with Ryan, and that is a very good person to sit there and go through looking through a fish to try see if we can find it for clients. If anybody wants anything, he's a pro, isn't he? So you couldn't be asking for anybody better.
He's out there for bloody ages, isn't he?
He is, mate. Yeah, I think it's either 5 or 6 weeks. And obviously it puts back through to exclusively koi where they'll be kept and quarantined and ready until such time as, I think it'll be about around March time-ish when they'll be ready for availability. So there you go.
Okay.
And then obviously Rick and Matt will be promoting themselves in exactly the same way come
Matt
next
can.
week.
I'm not buying nothing for no one. I'm not going down that path.
Yeah. Well, I'm not buying it for them. They'll be buying it themselves. I'd just see if I can source it for them, if possible.
Matt
Matt's obviously you're going to be offering that surely to your clients and your customers. Don't forget you are muted, mate, still, because we can't hear you.
Yeah, definitely. But this is your moment, guys.
Well, no, it's not, mate, at all. No. Honestly, without them guys doing what they've done, I wouldn't be going. So I've got to try to do something. But obviously, mate, you're here and you're here every week. Rick's here every week. There's platforms there for you to get your customers and people in touch with as well. That if they're watching, you can promote it yourself. That's what it's for. This is about us giving back to those that are watching.
I'm going to enjoy my time over there. I'm not buying fish for no one.
I've just been watching on YouTube tonight go-karting around Tokyo.
Yeah, we'll have some of that.
That sounds like
I'm
fun,
down
doesn't
for
it?
that. Tokyo Drift round all
Mario
those.
Kart.
But yeah, it is. And you put your clothing on. They got all fancy dress, so you can dress up whatever you want. And they go-karting down through Tokyo, but it's actually on the main streets. So you're going along in a little go-kart and you've got this massive big bus coming alongside you. And you could do it probably like Mario. You could go between the wheels and come back out again. And I was like, can you imagine us over there, my birthday in Tokyo, pisses farts, go-karting? Nah,
Yeah.
that sounds like dangerous.
Ryan would be the right size as well, wouldn't he?
Oh, there we go. I've missed a
We'll
couple
go
of
for it.
questions. I'll come back to this one, Brian. Sorry, mate. I've
He's
scrolled past.
skipping questions.
I've skipped loads. I didn't realise. Why did that take such a big jump down? David says, "Hi guys, what food?" And David has been asking this. I was pretty sure, but I didn't want to just in case, mate. What food does Matt from Howie Coy use? I missed the name. I think it's Coppins. Have a great night. Thank you very much, Dave. Or David.
It is, yeah, it is Coppins
Coppins.
I've used, but at the moment I'm presently using the Aqua that we've seen probably just the same results as Coppins. The price is more or less exactly the same. For me, the difference is that from the wholesalers, I can buy a bag. I don't have to wait for 5 ton of it to arrive in or shortages. I can just place the order and get it in.
Right. So other week when you turned around and said you were using Coppins, all your customers and all your super fans all went out there and started buying Coppins, and within a fortnight you're now using something different.
No, I mix it, so I've got the 2 lots of food here.
They're very, very similar foods.
Yeah.
Well, we looked at it at a time, didn't we, reckon? It was more or less, I reckon it's probably being manufactured in the Coppins and it's got a slight variant and a minor one.
And that's what was that brand again? Just I don't want David to miss because he has sent me a message to ask me to ask you.
I'm just looking, I'm sure. It's bad, isn't it? I can't
Aqua,
remember.
did you say Aqua something or other?
Yeah, Proline Aqua.
Proline Aqua. There you go, Dave. Or David. Proline Aqua, mate.
Yeah.
Dave says, well, it's going to jump up the other way next week. Yeah, it is. And then towards the end of the week, it's supposed to kick off with snow again, Dave.
So, good response. Guys, you're going away on holiday. What are you going to do in preparation for you going away on holiday at this time of year?
Absolutely nothing, mate.
So you're going to be running.
I've already given all my system. If I'm going away and it's still as cold as what it is and my pond's still frozen over, then I'll be doing no. I'll be just leaving it as is. All my systems already had a deep clean prior to going into winter, so that's all had what it's had. They've not been receiving any food for weeks and weeks and weeks, other than that day where I said they had a little bit. So there's nothing really more to do. I probably, if anything, if everything defrosts out there and all the snow's gone prior to me going, a filter clean and a water chip top up back up, and that'll be it.
We got echo coming through, guys.
Yeah, that's, let me just see which one it's coming from. Oh, let's see if it's coming from. Well, there we go. It's coming from Rick. Hang about. I shall see if I can. All right. Let's see if I can turn off your echo cancellation. How's that?
Don't know.
Still there.
I can hear it.
Yeah, it's
I
only
didn't have an
guy.
echo, so I don't know.
Oh, you don't get the echo. It's coming from you for some reason. Have you got the sound playing in the background?
No. Nothing on.
Dave, it's just a little late. We're talking about the echo. Yeah. Oh, damn it, man.
Maybe I'm out of sync.
Let's see if that worked. Yes, there we go.
How do you know? Oh, yeah, because I still can't hear it, can I?
Yeah, it's done. Stopped. That's got it.
Magic.
Turned your echo cancellation off, then back on again, and it's stopped. That's a bit weird. Dave says his pond's down at 4 degrees, koi's at the bottom. But as you said, Gaz, when I walk out, they swim around. Is it worth adding salt if the koi look okay? I haven't, mate. I haven't done anything with mine. They didn't have salt in this year or last year or the year before. I haven't used salt in for like a year and a half nearly now.
I haven't got salt in any of my ponds. Anytime I use the salt is if I need to. So if I see them struggling with the temps, then I might.
So the thing is, if you put salt in and they had a bad reaction to it, that ain't going to be so easy to get out in these temperatures, is it?
Well, it's what it is, isn't it? They shouldn't have a bad reaction, but if they're happy enough, just leave them be.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I checked on them every day, morning and night. As soon as I'm saying morning and night. Morning, first thing in the morning when I go out. And then obviously, as soon as I get home from work, and I normally check them on them before I go to bed. And if they're all as they were and just, swimming, they just, when you walk up to water's edge, they see you, obviously, and then they just swim off a little bit, and then they all come back and get themselves all parked up and nice and comfortable again. Mine seem to be breezing through it. I'm proper blown away this year compared to last year. Good evening, mate.
Happy New Year, everyone.
We've got another one. Evening, Crafty.
Hi, Crafty.
This year, as opposed to last year, I think Jeff Lees didn't like it so much when it got a bit cold. He's rolled over onto its side a little bit, but it had come from a heated pond. And within a couple of weeks of being in my pond, then winter came in and rolled in, and it weren't right happy at all. And I put a few videos out saying it don't look good. I hope I'm not going to lose this. And even Jeff turned around and said, "Hey, do you want me to come and bag it back up and take it so it has, take it through winter again? Then if it's all right, bring it back in spring, so it gradually gets used to it. Because we kind of put it in within a matter of weeks. The temperatures changed, and it was like shit. It didn't like it at all. It rolled over on its side. But this year, not bothered at all. That one's been quite active right up to this yesterday evening, and they've all packed up. But yeah, I've been surprised to see them all doing really well.
Toughening them up, mate. Getting the old stress level sorted.
Yeah. There's I've got one fish that looks like it's got a little bit of a nick on its peck. I've got 2 or 3 fish that the carp pox come back on, and one that's got carp pox that never had carp pox before, and that's the Bendigo, which is a rat's ass anyway. So I'm not all that bothered about it. It can't really ruin
the old man's, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come spring, it's leaving anyway. But my dad's already got a few fish that have got carp pox, so it's not like I'm going to be giving him something that's going to be a problem. So that's getting moved on, along with maybe 2 or 3 of us. So yeah.
What beer's looking like Crafties?
Evening, Edward, your cricket bat.
The badger. I need that dark bit. Badger stuff.
Yeah, a little.
Just for men, I brought that out for you, Rick.
Little dye
Just
middle.
for men.
Yeah, just for men.
Do you dye the middle bit, or is that natural? That?
No, I don't, mate. Do I look like the sort of bloke that does shit like that? Come on.
Yeah, probably.
Rough around the edges. Well, rough.
Mine's just fucking grey everywhere. I got a good head of hair. It grows like stink, man. It's going well grey. I bet you if I grew my beard, I'd have same as you. Dark bit in middle. And then it's real grey.
You don't look like you can grow a beard, mate.
I can't, mate. Straight
He's
up.
not old enough.
That's like a
He's not matured, is he?
like a 14-year-old's face there. Still not got. Doesn't even get anything.
You'd have like Harry in the shop, mate. Just like wispy hair.
Yeah, just look like if I put a bit of milk on there, a cat could just lick it off like whiskers.
Yeah, not hair like 10 amp fuse wire, mate.
No, not a chance,
You
mate.
get
No.
pliers too.
Mine's. I just look like a homeless bum when I grow any hair on my face. There we go. We get to Brian's then. Bottom drains question for Rick and Matt, and now obviously Anthony. What's the opinion on reference to aerated bottom drain or no aerated? Is it worth the extra £150 for the 4-inch aerated?
I personally don't like aerated. If you're gonna, I get the point of them and they do work, but I've been to ponds that have so many problems with them: A, blowing off, B, getting air under the dome and causing problems,
Blocking up when they all get full of algae.
it does draw more. Obviously, it does draw more debris to the drain, which is a bonus. And also, you can be running air at your deepest point if you want to, but they're not for me.
To be fair, right, from what I've seen of them, if I had a bottom drain, I would just have a capped off bottom drain as normal. And I'd go with an air curtain as opposed to a bottom drain, because an air curtain will push shit from one side to other and give your fish something to swim against. Whereas an aerated bottom drain, in my opinion, they seem to disturb the water surface tension that much that you can't see your fish. And if you've got a window, even more so. So I would say no for me.
Right, I'll go against
the
that
outside.
So all of my fish tanks, none of them have aerated in there. They just have a drop-in stone if I need to. But on my main pond, I have the 2 bottom aerated spin drifters. They are turned off 95% of the time. But like now, if I go out to look on the bottom of the pond, there will be leaves or muck sat in the corners around the perimeter of the pond. And it doesn't matter what I do with the speed of the pumps, they will stay there. But I guarantee you that if I put on the aerated within an hour, there will be nothing at all on the bottom of the pond. And then I switch it off again. So if you've got the
Hoover, it's a special Hoover.
So if you've got the pocket to get it definitely 100%. I say to all my customers when I'm doing the pond, if you can afford it, here's the price difference between non-aerated and aerated. If you can afford it, do it, because there will be a time when middle of summer when you want to get extra oxygen in there and all you want to do is flick the button, you want to get all your water volume going, then definitely 100%.
Yeah.
And I definitely literally I could invite anybody over and say, look at the pond, and you'll see the leaves just sat on the bottom of the pond, put the air on and you'll start seeing them bounce across the pond to the bottom drain. It's weird. And the theory is behind it is that
it's supposed to make that draft in it and pull stuff in.
Yes, exactly, guys. So a
it's like
drain
it causes that updraft, doesn't it? Where it pulls water from underneath, pulls it and circulates it. Makes it rotate towards
all together now. Come on.
That's the theory in it behind it.
Come on, Crafty.
He's not playing.
I've got one in my pond. I think that there's a little bit more thought that you have to put into it, because I had it because it was what everyone done. All right, so it's good that you're asking the question. However, I don't use mine very often at all. I'm like Matt. It stays off 90% of the time. Enough oxygenation gets in through the filtration system, and I've tried and tested it, and my fish are totally fine without it being on. However, you need the right size. You need so many people over egg how much the size of the air pump that they put through the bottom drain. That, like Gus says, they create such a turbulence in the water that actually, it does. You see whirlpools coming up.
Yeah, you do, don't you? A lot of them get that whirlpool effect in the middle of it, don't you?
It's just mental. When you look at what an oversized air pump does within the water, it's not good for the fish. Simple as that. So if you go low enough, you can create a very nice aerated system that isn't too powerful, or too many people put the little air taps on, and actually all you're doing is you're creating stress for your air pump, number one.
Yeah, you put back pressure on the diaphragms of your pump, then don't you? Reduce your pump's lifespan, don't you?
Yeah, and number two, your energy usage through the roof, because you're using far too many watts of power, for something that's you could buy a smaller pump for to do the same job. So a couple of little things to think about. The main reason I put mine on, extremely hot weather. That's when I put it on.
that would be a good time to have it, wouldn't it? Because you can get shitloads of oxygen. Well, you only get 30% of what you actually convert over anyway, don't you? So
100%. And then second to that, when I'm medicating as well. So PP, it's already set there. The good thing about them is that you hide all of the pipes that enter into your pond, rather than
that is another plus to it, isn't it? Because like having a curtain or one of those rings, it's a pipe running across the bottom of your surface. It's something else for a flash off. I suppose there is pros and cons to both, really. Isn't
there? There is, I didn't buy a spin drifter for my pond. I think my bottom drain was something like 60 quid, and it had the ability to have air to it as well as not. So too many people fall on the brand wagon as well.
Yeah,
must have a spin drifter because there's alternatives that are far cheaper than that. And actually, the air that goes to mine is by far better put together than a spin drifter. You don't have to get an air kit. You don't have to run a pipe, or like when I say a pipe, an air pipe, because it goes onto a nipple at the actual bottom drain, and then a nipple that goes to the end of the 1 inch pipe. With mine, I simply connect a 1 inch bottom, a 1 inch pipe to the bottom drain, and then one air nipple at the other end. Yeah. There's no pipe running anywhere. It's just literally fills that 1 inch pipe. So there's no kinking or anything like that. It just drives the air straight through.
With a solid pipe all the way through it.
Yeah.
Running parallel to the bottom drain type.
But what Rick said, if you don't seal them well enough, they do pop.
There's so many people you've seen in scuba gear, haven't you, diving into a pond. And my God, how many YouTubers I've watched that have done that can't. You're right. Most of the ponds are under 5 foot, which means your average koi keeper can just stand up and their head's above water. Yeah, we'd go with that. But I've watched so many people do it with a wetsuit on, where they go head first down with a lung full of air. Does nobody know how to sit on the bottom of a pond? You blow all your air out. So you take several deep breaths.
Take the airline with you.
Blow the air out.
Just an old dead breed.
Do the work that you need to do, and then stand up. I don't understand why everybody tries to dip their heads down. It's like, did you never do a swimming proficiency at school, like, and go down for bricks at bottom? And you were told that when you go down to bottom at deep end, you blow half your air out your lungs so you can get down deeper, and then you push up off the bottom with a brick, put it on the side, and take a breath.
You're skinny though, Gas. You probably sink that, don't you? Some people got more fat on them. They just bob.
Actually, fat don't make you float, mate, does it? It's a myth, isn't it? Just keeps you warmer.
So it does all right for me, mate. I ain't got to buy them blow up rings when I'm on holiday.
That's a buoyancy ring.
So
there is a lot of people that have trouble. I mean, Mike's popped off. Mike used to come off so many times, and he used to get his missus to go in and put it back in because he weren't going in there. But the last time we did it, we found out why it was popping off, because it was threaded. And the actual part that was threaded on, he hadn't realised, but he pushed that piece in. That's the piece. The threaded part is a piece that you solvent weld in, and then you wind the dome cap on and just give it a tweak, and that locks it in, stops it from being able to come off. And Mike hadn't actually glued it into place, so every time fish bumped into it, they knocked it off and it floated to the top. But yeah, bit of a pain in the ass. So
alternate suggestion is what you said though, Gus. To be perfectly honest, the air bars, aqua aeration, the company that you see up in the northeast.
That one that we saw at the show, mate, they're mint them things. The amount of air that they put out of them, and the amount, it's a weighted piece of pipe work in it, and it one connection at end, blank end at other one, and that acts as two things though, doesn't it? That gives your fish something to exercise and swim up a bit, because it actually blows current across the surface of the bottom of your pond, which is really good for your fish to swim up against and exercise with as well, because they enjoy swimming into flow, don't they?
He's worth talking to, that guy, because he does do custom mates as well. But he does everything, rings, you know. He was just some of the stuff. He'll look at your pond, he'll tell you what you need, he'll X, Y, he puts his life and soul into it, that guy. I really want him to go commercial with it. But
I'd like to have one full length of my, not full length, but like 3/4 of that back wall where my Acer is, and have one across there.
I bought one off Burton about 3 years ago, because they also do one as well. But when I put it into the pond, it done a good enough job. But again, pops off, Yeah. And with what the guy at Aeration, I can't remember his name, the guy at Aqua Aeration, he does bespoke modelling. So, I think a lot of that stuff happens above water. So, don't quote me on that, but I've looked at some of his gear and it's real good quality stuff.
Gaz, after last week's conversation that we had, was that a plug for a freebie?
But I mean, if they're available, I would accept them greatly. But I'm not very much.
Another freebie.
Oh, it's already in here. I've seen there. No freebies for Gaz. Thank you very much, Susan. 2 bags of stacking and a free mill net and a free meter net pole, please, Gaz. Is that what you want, Dave? Is that what you want bringing back? No worries, mate. I shall see if I can get a telescopic one to collapse down to fit in my suitcase for you. And Jeff's taking 2 suitcases, so we might be able to bring you back some sake. George did put in there, why not have the live on Wednesday before you fly? Because I don't fly till Friday. So I will be having the live on Thursday before I fly on Friday.
Have you got your date?
Yeah, Friday.
This Friday? 24th,
no, Friday 24th we fly. I think we fly at 8 something or other in the morning.
When did you come back?
Be back in the UK on the 2nd or the 3rd, I think.
So you flying out when I come in then?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
about
yeah. We'll be
roundabouts.
We'll be going like I-5 as you walk in. We'll be walking out. So I'll
So
be getting.
we're all going on different days.
We'll go, when Gaz comes back, I go out. When I come back, you go out.
You go out. Yeah, so we'll literally the.
Do you think it's Ryan's got friends with him all the time? He's spreading his friends out.
I think it's to make it more. I mean, imagine us all being there. That'd have been absolutely awesome.
Carnage.
It would have been carnage. It'd just be one massive piss up, and nobody would have been buying fish.
But I can't imagine going go-kart with
no, you wouldn't have been, but me, Rick, and Jeff, and everybody else would have been. We'd been getting wrecked. You guys, that's business-wise there for it. You would definitely still be buying. I mean, yeah. Matt's practicing already, aren't you, Matt? Go for it. Get on the old rum and coke, mate. Good evening, Glenn. Thanks for joining us, love. Right, let's have a look. Koi Guy says, Gaz, what are you most looking forward to in Japan? Honestly, mate, and I know this is going to sound a bit nesh, but I am honestly looking forward to the show, because that is going to be an ultimate thing. To go see the show is something else. I never expected that. I didn't think that was going to be something we'd be doing. So that, the first one. And the second one is purely to see Japan in its beauty of what is winter. And that's on top of that, then obviously going to all the koi farms. But I've looked a lot online and looked at seeing it through winter, and I've seen it on people's videos, and it does look absolutely beautiful and picturesque. And that is one of the things that when I were a nipper, we used to get snow like that.
Good, it was that big. So
that might be the case, Rick. But when I were a nipper, we used to get snow on our road, and my mum and dad have got pictures of snow level with the roof of his house. And it's a bungalow, granted. It's a bungalow. Don't get me wrong, but we don't see stuff like that anymore, and they get like that regular, don't they? So to see Japan in all its beauty with its winter coat on, and then to get to go around all the koi farms, meeting people that that we're going to be meeting, man, it's going to be mad. It's mental, but yeah. The main thing,
all the beauty in the winter coat, guys, is going to be smart seeing you in the suit.
I don't know if I'm being told.
Everybody at the show wears a suit. Have you not seen the photos of mine?
That's the award ceremony, not the show.
No, you've got to wear a suit. You got to be a penguin.
Seriously, I've got a nice free piece, mate. I'll be looking dapper. I don't give a shit about that. I shall ask Ryan if I need to wear a suit, and if I need to wear a suit, mate, I'm going. I'm prepped, ready. I've got a nice little grey pinstripe suit, mate. Looks sweet as.
Got to be black.
Wait, fuck that. Everybody else can be black, man. I want to be different. I want to stand out. Even going to have GKP on back at jacket. I'll just write it on marker pen. So yeah, there you go, Koi Guy. What I'm looking forward to more than anything is to see the show, to see fish like that, and to see that's next level stuff, isn't it? See all those people, all those breeders that are there showing the fish. Pretty much you get to see everybody all in one place. That's next level. So yeah, and it's something I'll probably never get a chance to do ever again. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. Then obviously going to Nagata and seeing that for all its beauty that it is.
Going to be good.
Echo. As well.
What's Rick looking forward to?
What's Rick looking forward?
I've heard the lemon sours are good.
Well, that's what I'm actually. And yeah, Jeff, I'm actually looking forward to seeing Jeff Lees and Ryan doing a duo on karaoke. That should be funny as shit.
Spending a week with you, Matt. What else over Valentine's, mate?
It's going to be beautiful.
Valentine's Day in Japan.
Again.
You sharing a room again, boys?
No.
That was a rapid no there.
It was, because I had this conversation with one of the guys that's coming with us earlier on. And he said, have we got single rooms? And I said, if we haven't, I'm going to change it when we get there because there's no way I'm going to sleep with Rick again. I've never known.
It scared you, mate, didn't you? That guy should have scared you, didn't it?
It was continuous all night.
It weren't that what bothered you, was it, mate? Really, if we're going to be truthful, it was him telling you. It was him whispering in your ear just what he was going to do to you when he got you back to that room. That had you worried.
That was
it, man. It was hilarious. That has got to be the single best
thing. Room
about
Lee, you'll be all right.
There you go. Vince says, "I'm so glad I haven't got a bottom drain aeration." Yeah, I think
if you can afford it, put it on, wouldn't you? Because, like you say, it's there.
Well, it's a definite plus for summer months, isn't it? So it would be a good idea to have it and have it there as additional aeration for treatments for summer months, and then you could pick and choose whether you had it on.
In the first week of January.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like air going into a pond because all it does is distorts the water and you can't see the fish.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I've got the 4 air stones in mine, and that really pees me off because in those 4 areas, the turbulence it makes on the pond, I can't see fish half at time until they get to middle bit. So you end up switching. If you want to have a good look at them, you've got to turn your air off, haven't you? Or the water's distorted so you can't see. I suppose that's a bonus of a window as well because you don't have that then with that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Gravedigger says, I hope Gaz doesn't get bottom aeration in Japan when he's eating challenge. Well, Lee's not going, so hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure I could probably convince Ryan not to have to want to do that because I don't mind. I'll try anything just as long as it's not got stupid spice to it because I can't because of my diverticulitis. I'll just end up with 3 days in bed, so there's no point. But if it's just something random or something weird, as long as it's not super hot, then I'll give it a go, mate. I'm up for a laugh. I can spew my guts up at a piece of piss and just crack on, carry on. That don't bother me. Being sick's not something that phases me at all.
Don't do it at the old Japan in a tank.
No. That's not such a good idea. Well, that's the thing. That's as you say there, Susan. You've got a retro bottom drain. I have as well. But that was one reason why I didn't go for the aerated bottom drain because I've seen other people that's had it, and the fish have flashed against it and cut themselves and damaged themselves on it. So I went with the non-aerated instead. And I even sanded round and smoothed off all the little bit of molds and stuff to take the sharp edges off. That might have, just in case, and touch wood. We haven't had any problems with any fish flashing against it at all. Aqua aeration bars are fantastic for seeing fish and give much more oxygen.
But it's sad now, isn't it?
They're a finer bubble as well, aren't they?
One of them used to always think I was like.
Yeah, aeration bars, you get a finer bubble with them.
Yes, you do, yeah.
The finer the bubble, the more water they move, with the less disturbance.
And the more oxygen you're supposed to get.
Bigger surface area, the smaller the bubble, the bigger the surface area you're exposing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they work better. They come from they use them for oxygen when you're transporting fish. So you use pure oxygen through finer diffusers. And also you barely know they're running, but also they're putting pure oxygen into a system.
Albert. Anyway.
What's up, guys? From AU the Future. Are you good, mate? I hope you're well. I have to clean my pond 3 days in a row because of the Oh my God, man. That's bad, isn't it? Have you seen that?
Yeah, some of the fires are horrendous, aren't they?
Yeah, my wife told me last night. She said, "Have you seen hot fires in LA?" I'm like, "No, I haven't seen nothing. I didn't even know that it were happening." Though she showed me, I thought, "Jesus Christ, man, that is bad, proper bad." So he's having to clean his pond 3 days in a row because of the California fire winds. Jesus Christ, mate! I hope everything's good. I hope everybody's safe and family's well, mate.
Question for you, Rick. So I never knew this. Salmon eggs, you can regulate when you want to hatch them between 6 and 20 weeks.
Right.
So why are they different then in any way to koi eggs? Can you regulate them?
No, it's just temperature. So salmon eggs, obviously you hatch at a much lower temperature, but if you hatch them at 12 degrees or 7 degrees, that's your time difference, isn't it? It's just degree days. So koi eggs, you can hatch koi eggs in just over 48 hours or 5 days, depending on the temperature. So
You can't go any longer than that.
I've got a massive pot of spaghetti.
No, if you drop below about sort of 12, the eggs will start dying, as in. And if you go above, so I mean, ideally, the temperature to hatch them is the temperature they spawn at, because that's just the best. That's how you get best
18 degrees is for it, but 18 degrees, Rick, you said they normally
about 20, we try and hold them at 20, but in the height of the summer, we might do a spawning, and the polytunnels are hitting 30 water temperatures of 30 degrees, and they're hatching just over 48 hours. It's insane, but
30 degrees.
You just don't. If you want for the best hatches, you really want to be aiming for about 4 days. Which is.
But what about that then, Rick? I'm not saying it does. I'm just because in some species, depending on the temperature at the time of hatching, depends on more males to female ratio.
Yeah,
does it? Can you alter anything like that with it?
No, it doesn't seem to make a difference. I mean, it does with reptiles, doesn't it? The temperature you hatch things at.
Yeah, well, there are certain tropical fish that does as well.
Yeah, it's not we've noticed, to be fair, but if you hatch them too fast, you don't get the strongest fry, and if you hatch them too slow, you have more problems getting them. You have more fungal problems with the eggs, and you have worse hatch over a longer period. They'll hatch boom together, and then they'll come up for first feeding together, and it's all just nice. And that happens if you keep them at around 20 degrees. That's kind of what happens.
It's mad,
you start getting too cold, it stretches it out.
You think fish, as one whole general species, you would think they would all be the same. And for some to be able to do
have some similarities. There's one extreme to the next with some of them, aren't there?
Yeah,
but it's all been years and years of being in whichever environments, isn't it? Salmon spawn in, fresh snow melt up in the streams where it's freezing cold. The eggs take literally months to hatch.
But they were saying as well, as to do with the food, they need the water temperature to come up to a certain level, so there's insects for the fry to actually live on when they hatch. So they just sit there in the gravel until such time as the water temperature's there, and then they pop.
Yeah. So they're basically hatched out when the insect larvae start to flourish as well.
Yeah.
They lay the eggs in the autumn and they hatch in the spring. It's like a long time.
A long time, then, isn't it? They're sat there.
Yeah, trout in this country are the same. But yeah, you can see trout will run in November or whatever, and they obviously hatch in the spring but it's temperature related, isn't it?
You'd think that they just get washed back out, wouldn't you?
Hey?
You'd think that we've all, because through our winter months, we amount that water levels rise and how much flood waters we get running to rivers and what have you. You'd think that those little eggs would just get washed away, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but they bury them. They create reds. So they create a hole in the gravel, put the eggs and literally bury them in the gravel.
So, yeah.
And obviously they get enough flow. It's amazing anything survives, isn't it, really? But,
yeah. And I suppose they'll be sticky same as, so they'll bond it.
No.
They're not?
No. That's why if you go to a salmon farm, where they do egg picking, they have them on trays and you can roll them and pick out all the dead ones. And
so why is it that? Oh God, man, like you said, Matt, it's mad, isn't it? It's nuts, isn't the difference between them? Koi eggs get a tiniest bit of moisture on them. That's it. They're sticking like lumps of glue to each other, aren't they?
Yeah, even just different. Imagine if carp eggs all sunk to the bottom into the silt, that'd be the end of them, wouldn't it? They've got to stick.
They'd rot back and die out. Yeah.
Even the old transformation
on the environment area.
What
was that?
Even the transformation that, like a cock salmon does, with his jaw and his mouth. It's amazing that a fish can be that old and then get his jaw to grow up basically they lock on to the females.
They do. They change shape, but then obviously they curl up and die thereafter.
Yeah, and there's a hell of a lot of them curl up and die, aren't there?
What a way to go, though.
Oh yeah,
Jumping
swim around, dodging for your life all the way, and then swim upstream into a freezing cold river, grow a massive, great big chin, and then shag yourself to death. Wicked. Oh yeah, can't think of anything better. all that time beforehand, actually, absolutely trying to keep yourself alive.
Crafty, when you're doing another auction, mate. Hello.
Yeah, so I've been muted because the dog's yelping. I'm unsure, mate. WhatsApp ones are being run by the shop floor now, because listening to feedback that you guys had last week, I'm in agreement with you with regards to that one-to-one sort of quality service that you get. But there is a place for them. So I'm just using the WhatsApp. There should be this weekend on WhatsApp. At the minute, for me to do them, I'm a little bit up against it for various reasons at work. So I'm hoping.
Sorry.
If not this week, next week.
New games, mate. I just noticed you've got your other arm back inside your glasses.
Oh no, I've got these occupational glasses, guys. I need 3 sets of fucking glasses, mate. So crap my eyes are. I need far, short, and intermediate. So I had to get.
Sorry, he went talking to him the other day, and he says, "Check this out." And he turned to the side. He got fucking arm missing off the side of his glasses, bust another set. I thought you got some new ones. Oh dear me.
Yeah, there's I've got some bangers lined up for YouTube. Some of the lads tried to steal them for WhatsApp, but I made them take them out and put them back in.
What about that yellow monkey?
Yeah,
I've
been speaking. Yeah, we're still. I got so much feedback off of the back of that, where people was asking for auctions, not auctions, raffles instead.
So you're thinking about maybe doing that line?
I spoke to the boss, but either way, it's a risk because we've got the competitions page. I know I keep saying this, but fairly imminent with regards to. So the competitions page is like 7 day competitions. You know, where you can win a supercar for £1. So we've basically built a website or part of the website to sort of give that same sort of experience, and it's supposed to have took 6 months, and we're 20 months in now. But that looks like it's ready to go live extremely well within the next week or two. Fingers crossed. We've had a couple of working versions of it, but it's just about polishing it up now to make it look as it should look, rather than it just being that I do, because I want it to look good. So the thought is possibly putting it onto a competition, because it gives the ability for that fish to be won by somebody that wouldn't necessarily have the money for that kind of fish.
Yeah.
But then looking at what Sunnybank done with that black and white thing, what's it called? Black diamond. I'm in two minds. I personally would prefer to do it under an auction, right? So if we get, it's just about getting the right audience, though, because it's not going to start cheap, and it's worth a good deal of money. So it's one of them. But yeah, I want to do it, but ultimately, the amount of feedback I got, everybody was calling for a raffle on it, and I can understand why. But then on the flip side, for me, it's like, I've seen where that black diamond went to, and again, that's a whole lot of fish for somebody that hasn't necessarily got the right pond for it. I don't mean to speak ill, because they're making a new pond, but ultimately, I want somebody that can house that fish if you know what I mean. And
there's got to be you don't want it going to.
But we've had this conversation before. We don't know. Let's say someone throws 10 grand down on it. You don't know what their fish keeping skills are like. So it's one of them. But at the
Difficult
same time, I wouldn't put it in my pond. It's like, I ain't going to be able to bring it on much more than where it's at in my pond. But it's one of them, and it needs to go to someone else's house now.
So if you did it as a raffle, then I mean, you've got to make sure you're making. Say you've got a figure of £4 grand in your head as your absolute bare minimum. You've got to have like X amount of tickets at X amount of money. What happens if you don't? If you only sell half the tickets, you ain't going to do the raffle.
Well, you run it until you hit where you want it to go. So as soon as that lumps on, but this is where it becomes into two minds. What if you don't get the money that you want? You've then got to put something else in place that appeases those guys that have entered. You can't. It's
a difficult one, isn't it? Really, if you don't meet your target that you want and what you expect, then what happens if all those people say, "Well, we want his money back"? That's a lot of refunds.
This is it. It creates a huge amount of work and mistrust, and it's either way. It's
something to think and consider in it, and weigh up the pros and cons.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably. Don't quote me on this, so I'll just put a clause in there. It's not verbatim, but it'll probably start around £5,500–6,000.
So there's only going to be a handful of people even thinking about going for that, innit? So you've got,
But the thing is, there's not many. There's probably only 1 or 2 available in the UK if they are for sale. I think Sunny Bank Koi has got one, but I haven't seen it up for sale anywhere. And the quality of that fish is insanely good, and it's worth its price tag. And I know that we've seen some yellow monkeys come into market this year, but they're so few and far between. And I will say they're not the same quality as the ones that I had previously. They're not as good. There's a
lot younger fish as well, aren't they? Really, they've still got a heck of a lot of growing to do to become even. Well, they're not even a quarter of the size, are they?
No, they're going for fucking good money though. £700 for 15 fish.
Well sought after fish, aren't they? So I'm pretty sure that if you ever did put it up and you got to that site, however you did it, I think there'd be a lot of interest in it.
I've got some beautiful just Nisai Kahaku from Mauritian that I sort of got mid-season last year.
Was that one that you sent me? Was that a Mauritian?
No, that was Shinoda.
That was a nice one too. A little nice one.
Nice fish. That's going on WhatsApp.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's some nice fish on that as well. Actually, I made the lads take a couple out because I don't think that they'll get the price that they should on WhatsApp.
But if everybody is watching and is going to enter into his auction on WhatsApp, there is a mint little Deutsch Kahaku. Absolutely stunning.
I'll send it to you.
Anyway, I can share it. And then I'm just going to bring this up because let me double check. David Thompson's shown us his type of bottom area and bottom drain. So I shall bring this one up and we can let everybody have a quick nose at this because it's not a domed one. It's flat. It's flat flush, and then it's got like a ring around it that seeps down and through and under.
I mean, when I have mine on, my fish like swimming through it.
Yeah.
You'll see them break up and then get pushed up by it, and I love it. Gives them something to play with. That's a nice fish.
That's quite a steady flow, isn't it, as well? That's not
that's not overwhelming, is it? That's not crazy amounts of.
And that's what I was on about with regards to the size of the air pump. It's amazing how, just a 70 litre per hour pump, which is one of the smallest EA do, far too quick, far too much pressure being pushed through. You probably only need 30 litres an hour to get that sort of flow.
He says there he goes, aerated bottom drain. That's got a lot.
It's got a 94. My pump's got a 95 on it doing the 2 bottom drains.
That's 2.
But when I turn it on, it takes over 15 minutes before any air comes out because it's trying to pump down the 8 feet and all the pipe to get out to the 6 meter mark to get it coming up.
Got to push all the water out first.
I'll
tell you what I found, Matt. So I've done a test on all the air pumps, and without a shadow of doubt, what are they called? The white ones, Japanese
Meadows,
ones.
They were good.
The which one?
Meadows or whatever. The old Jack ones, they were good. I don't think you get them anymore.
No, hang on a minute. Oh, what are they called? Lee Hadfield's got a copy.
Because when you say that, Clancy, there's got to be a difference between each of the pumps. If they were all, say, all different brands were all at 70 litres,
yeah.
If the diaphragm is different on each one of them, potentially at different depths, one is going to be able to pump a higher amount of oxygen through, or air, should I say, than what the rest of them can.
Oh, Crafty, do you want to? Sorry, is it just so I don't miss it? Ollie's asked. Ollie Alpha Koi said, "Which WhatsApp group, Crafty? It's posted in your group."
I'll share. I'll give you the QR code in a minute so people can.
Great. There we go.
Let's go back to yours, mate. The way that I see it is they should deliver what they say on the box, Matt. However, when you start looking at things like air curtains, Fujimac, that's the one, mate. I've just got it up. When you start looking at the air curtains and how far that air has to travel, right? What I've done, we put on an EA pump, we put on an Oase pump, put on a Superfish air pump, all of the same level of litres per hour, and then a Fujimac.
The Fujimac, but that smashed it, didn't it?
The Fujimac, mate, was fucking
leaps and bounds above everything else.
The flow that you got, like the airflow that you got from the others, were probably 20% of that from the Fujimac. And when I say that, is you would see like on an air curtain that was about 2 meters long, and that you would see the air come through and probably only hit a quarter of the air curtain, and then it would disseminate all the way down to just poxy little bubbles at the far end. Put the Fujimac on, mate, and it was instant. The whole thing.
I listened to a few people when we was at the last, not the last show, but the show before at Newark Showground, and they'd got a stall there, hadn't they? And I listened to a few people talking about that they'd heard that these were so much more than this puts out, and I'm pretty sure they had some pumps of a different brand and then theirs to show the comparison between them, and they were
head and tail.
Yeah, that's what the guy was saying.
Yeah, air pumps are all rated to what comes out under no pressure.
Yeah, that's exactly. Thanks, Rick. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. So you've got all these pumps that saying they do 70 litres a minute.
Yeah,
but they do with no pressure. Same as the water pump, exactly the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it'll put out prior to connecting it to something.
Correct.
Yeah, and you pump it down to 8 feet, and the diaphragm can't physically cope with pumping that
with that back pressure.
That pressure.
But that's where the better pumps used to be piston pumps or whatever. So they weren't diaphragm pumps; they're a different type of pump, like a piston pushing. So they're much better at greater depths.
What was the other one?
The Fujimac, they retail higher like down payment, but the running costs on them, according to the data that's shown on the others, is a huge amount cheaper. So, like anything, your bigger down payment. Yeah, I'd agree with it. I wouldn't argue with that. The bigger down payment is an investment over time. It does come back. And the other thing is they run very silently as well in comparison to their to their competition.
That's a lot, But also that if that runs 250 at a metre of water rather than 250 at the surface is a different animal, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, mate,
250 runs, 3
performance is
acres,
mental,
2
mate.
bottom drains, and 2 moving beds, all off of 1 pump. That's
But they are expensive in comparison. That's the difference.
now. Rob's saying there that pistons won't handle hardly any depth pressure. Trust me, I've had pistons wouldn't handle 5 foot depth.
Yeah, it depends on the mate. You get those cheap. You get cheap ones. You get the old Mido ones that used to be pretty immense from Japan.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, is it like anything? You basically get what you pay for, and you get something
Yes,
that
correct.
fits your pond or whatever. So
Mido air pumps and pistons.
you might pay for a decent air pump like you might pay 300 quid, whereas you'll pay 49 quid for a cheap diaphragm pump.
Yeah,
And the diaphragm pump will do 99% of people what they need it to do. So,
quality costs. You're right, mate, doesn't it?
It does. They've got a good support network as well behind them, Fujima.
Got a question from Kelly Nobbs that's asked, what is the best heater to heat a small growing tank, approximately 1,200 litres? What's the best heater to heat a small growing tank?
depends what time of year you're heating it. So that's if you wanted to heat it in the summer to grow fish, an air source heat pump, you get the little ones, absolutely phenomenal. But if you try and do that in the winter, they're a bag of crap.
Yeah, because it can't go less than 4 degrees.
They just don't. I mean, mine at the minute is as soon as the temperature drops below about 5 degrees, and I take an air from the tunnel, it probably drops to 1-to-1. It's probably doing a kilowatt of heating for a kilowatt going in. Yet as soon as that temperature comes up, it will just next level. But yeah, so if you're just heating it through the winter, a little 300-watt aquarium heater is the cheapest thing to buy, and it'll run absolutely fine. If you're going to run it through the summer to grow fish through the summer, a little air source heat pump would be better.
Yeah,
It's the same thing like what was mentioned just a minute ago about quality. It's your budget as well, because like Vicky said, the air source heat pump is definitely going to be the better option, but it's whether you got the budget to do that.
To buy it, and also when you want that water to be at what temperature. If you want to run it at 28 degrees in the winter, it's going to be quite hard for an
air source heat pump.
You'd have to buy quite a big one just to do such a little tank. Whereas you could buy, a 300-watt electrical heater for 25 quid. It's a lot dearer to run, but it will do what you need it to do if the tank's insulated or whatever. So again, sorry, Kelly, there's no
simple, straightforward answer.
No.
There's lots of variants to every. Oh, there we go. This will be from spring through to autumn.
Yeah.
So then you can go with one of those little penguin air source heat pumps, and will be insulated. Those small little ones that is quite a few. It begins with an F.
Aqua 40 do some good ones now.
Yeah, I think is that Jeff's got a small little one on his pond. Jeff, what's that one that you run on yours, mate? Because that one's keeping his pond at 18 degrees now. He says it is working its little socks off now, where it's dropped as cold as what it is. But throughout the spring through to autumn, and just before we've had these real drop cold temperatures, it's been running at next to nothing for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You just have to work your purchase cost and your running costs across a 2-year, however long you're going to run it, 2 seasons or whatever. But you still might find a 300-watt aquarium heater will run that at the temperature you want, and will only need to be on a certain period. So, yeah.
But it's again like, and I get this question quite a fair few times. 1 kilowatt or 3 kilowatt, it makes no difference on the electricity cost whether you use a 1 kilowatt or 3 kilowatt. If you use a 3 kilowatt heater, it's going to heat up your pond 3 times quicker than what a 1 kilowatt one will. So it will switch off quicker, leaving the other one still running. So
as long as the only difference it might be if a 1 kilowatt doesn't get it to temperature and is running all the time, or a 3 kilowatt would take it
up to
beyond.
temperature.
But
Yeah.
a tank like that, what's that? 300-gallon tank she's talking about that's insulated. It ain't going to take a lot to maintain that at 23, 24 degrees. So, yeah.
Hot tub heater, 70 quid, 1 kilowatt or 3 kilowatt, job done.
There we go. Right, just quickly going to bring this up. There is a link to it, but all those that are tech savvy and you want to go the real smart way, just point your mobile phone camera at the screen now. And obviously you can pause this, go back and do it afterwards and take a picture of it. And that will take you with a direct link straight to the actual Koi for Sale Perfect Aquatics WhatsApp group, guys. And that's literally put your camera on your mobile phone, point it at it, you'll get a little yellow square, it'll say tap to accept, and that's it. You're done. You're in.
There's 2 groups in there. So, well, sorry, there's 3. There's a chat group for people to have a chat in, ask questions. The shop floor will come back, or anybody else, it's available for conversation. There's Koi for Sale, which is a fixed price. They will drop on, and anybody that's in that group, they will get a cut price against shop floor prices as well. And then there's a auction koi group as well, which is obviously for auctions. So that's one of the ones that are coming up on this weekend. And
That's
an edited.
Well, it is, yeah, but it's still a banging looking fish, mate. Edited or not.
All I do on that, go back, Gaz. Right, so all I do on that is I basically cut that picture out that's in there and then drop it on a clean background and then put the logo on and the text. That's all that happens. You know, it gets dropped onto a clean background. Right, so the fish are not doctored at all. Yeah. So, and then it ends up like the other one. So it ends up looking like that. Right, but you know, that's a little banger of managed to get me mix on. And this one's coming.
That's a Goshki cross shower.
Goshki Shanky.
Oh, Goshki Sanky, that one.
Yeah. So I bought this.
Where you got that stashed?
Nice, isn't it?
That's on its way over from Japan on Monday next week. So that was entered into the All Japan Koi Show last year. And it's coming back because it's obviously been kept in Japan, but it measured there 34 cm. What do you think?
I really do like that. And do you know what? I'm hoping that they do more of them, the Goshki Sanky, the Goshki Shower, because they look they're nice, aren't they?
It's getting a good one though, guys, because
well, imagine with anything that's a new line, isn't it? It's a new development.
It's not a new line. They've been knocking around for years and years, mate.
Have they?
Just that there's not many people do them, so there's a reason for that, isn't there? You know, and it's getting them right, and they're few and far between for a reason, and that's because it's hard to get one that's a good one. This is from Kibby, sorry. 30, I think it was 34 cm when I got it last February, and it's coming back this Monday. How big do you think it is now?
58.
No. What do you reckon, Gus?
What size it's at now?
Yeah.
Was it jump? That was Niso. That was a small Niso there, surely.
From his toes eye patch.
That was from his toes eye, so it's coming over here now at knee side with what's been coming out. I'm going to say 45.
No,
bigger. Small, you're bigger.
66,
67 cm.
Flipping heck, man.
So I'm told.
It's got a head like a shovel and all, hasn't it? That's a big head, that, isn't it? Big mouth. There's no wonder.
Yeah. That picture there looks like Niso.
It does. Yeah, I agree with you, mate.
And the fact if that's coming back at 66 centimeters,
It's got to be Sandai.
Yeah.
It's just sold as toes. Yeah.
It's still, it's a good example, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it looked like just before it entered the All Japan Koi show. So I haven't got an up-to-date picture on it yet. So.
Ooh.
Well,
Nice.
horrendous.
Is that a sales fish? Or is that your fish?
Yeah,
sales fish,
for sale, mate.
Yeah, they're quite intriguing, but a lot of the lower quality ones just look messy, don't they? But
that's why they go in the food bin, isn't it?
No, we go. Quick one here. Craig sent us in for the lady that was asking about the heat pumps. Heat pumps for pools, 450 to 550, depending on whichever size, the 4 kilowatt or the 5 kilowatt, excluding VAT.
What's it? Yeah, but mate, this is where so many people.
It's a Thermatech mini heat pump, 4 kilowatts and 5 kilowatts, UK plug pool heater for above ground ponds, up to 10 M3 extended season use.
Right, so it's operating. Its operating temperatures is the.
We need
a lot of these small ones can't withstand going below 0 degrees.
Built for functions and to work in air temperatures as low as -7.
But all the heat pump doesn't work very well in bracket.
And that's what people don't look at that bit. And that's why a lot of these small pumps that people have been adding, it don't work anymore. Yeah,
they got that shut off at 4 degrees, haven't they?
Yeah. That will literally be pumping out whatever you're pumping into it is kilowatts. It won't touch it. So you'll be paying £500 for a heater that at this time of year you'll be using up 1 kilowatt and it'll be putting 1 kilowatt into your pond.
Yeah, but the thing is that's way too big for what Kelly wants.
And she only wants to run from spring to autumn. So
it's about 1 meter cubed of water. You don't
have a look at the Clover inline heaters.
That's why I said
1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt heaters there. I weren't listening to what you guys said, but that's probably the way I would go. Clover one inline heater.
I'd go even cheaper with a 300 watt aquarium heater that would run a one cubic meter tank.
Oh, is that all she's got?
Insulated through the summer at 25 degrees, no bother.
800 watts, 800 watt in. Yeah, we use them. We use them at work as well, mate.
Well, expensive to run an 800 watt.
I said 300.
Yeah.
I like to cook the fish.
The thing with a little 200 or 300 watt one is if it goes wrong, the thermostat, it's never going to take it hot enough to be a problem.
Correct.
You put a bigger one on and something goes wrong, you'll cook them. In a small vat like that, it doesn't matter.
Not quality back at least.
Done.
Yeah, it's true. I'd agree.
Next one that we've got a question from Tom Churchill.
Tom. Evening, Tom.
And
he won't be watching it, be in bed.
He has asked if not, he actually says I'll try to stay awake. If not, I'll be watching in the morning. I'd like to talk about koi bloodlines. And I put in, what about them? And he's put in genetics, like some of the small breeders use, like Sakai parents and others might use Momotaro. The history of koi farms parents, I'm sure Rick will know a fair bit. So he'd like to talk about some of the bloodlines, Rick, and he believes that you are the man.
Man, you should see the new page we set our own bloodline up, mate.
Well,
the reality, the bloodlines, we're not being funny. The quality, when one farm produces the best fish for a period of time, everyone else uses those fish to carry on from. So you can almost trace most of the good Kahaku lines back to a couple of lines. The Sankeys, Matsunoski was the big line, and suddenly they didn't get the body they needed. Sakai did it. They get massive with the bodies. Everyone uses their parents. They're the fish that everyone wants. If you look back through their bloodline, that was the Kahaku Sankey cross from way back. They've even got the family tree. You can see almost all their parents and go back 2 generations to where they've come from. But obviously, they're not only have they got the best genetics, they got the best facilities, and they produce the biggest numbers. So, you know, you look at a farm like, and you think, if I want to breed Sankeys that are the best Sankeys in the world, that's where you're going to go and buy your parents from. But it doesn't mean you'll replicate what they can do, because their facilities are off the charts, aren't they?
And the level of those fish that they're using are far superior than what the average person would buy as broodstock.
So, for a prime example, we've just set up a page for our fry show and growth thing we're doing. And obviously, for me to get hold of good parents, I can't buy like the Dragon Ball line female we've got. Cracking body, it was the biggest of the batch from that were grown at the time. The belly's amazing, everything's superb on it, but the pattern's dog. But I couldn't, if it had a good pattern, there's no way we could have afforded that fish. Just physically, and to be able to sell those fried to people, you know, it's the difference between me spending a couple of grand on a fish and 20 grand on a fish as a female, just for the pattern. And that obviously has very little. Pattern does play a role, but it's one of the smallest roles in terms of the outcome. So for our point of view, that's the best we can do from that bloodline. I'll have to use that. And obviously, from a breeding point of view, I'd love to go there and get their best fish. You know, they've got that fish they'll be taken back to the you'll see it at the All Japan this year. I think that 105 centimeter Sankey that they've it's already won once 2 years ago, whatever, and money on it. Will probably do it again because it's now bigger and better. That's the fish you want to breed from, isn't it? But that if they sold that, you're probably talking £1 million.
Right. So, cracking book. I recommend it. Okay. So there's just one gene tree from a set for just to get hold of Showa. All right. So when you start looking at bloodlines, I mean, what we're seeing on the page there is extended even further since this was published. But in order for one breeder to get to where it has, that's how many sets of fish have actually been crossed from different breeders in order to get to where they are. And the Kahaku one I'm going to find now is in another level again. So, you know, if you want to learn about bloodlines, you need to get the right literature to do it, because it dates back so far.
Yeah.
But let me find the Kahaku one, Gaz.
I just put you up on solo, mate. Sorry, but it's just so people could see.
It's good.
But that's the thing in it. So you get a majestic Kahaku that wins, you know, like Dainichi's fish that won 2 years ago. So they use that as a parent, and everyone wants offspring from that, and that becomes the mainstay of numerous other. Gone way back like that.
So when you start looking at, just trying to get it good, there you go. When you start looking at how far back the gene tree of Kahakus go, well, good luck in deciphering that. And that's how much work that the Japanese go into. And like I said, since this was published, that's going to go even further.
Yeah,
we're probably 5 generations on from that now, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%.
Realistically.
And then Sankey is that one. So, you know, that just gives you an idea of what they do. And bloody
and a very good book to look at to see it.
100%. Again, but they're not cheap books, you know. So, it's interesting.
Those individual fish craft you just shown them, their siblings potentially haven't got that genetic. They've got the genetics there, but they haven't got the capability of throwing what those fish are looking like there.
What fish? What? So,
what I'm trying to say is that somebody could go say buy a Montero Kahaku and think it's got the genetics to be an awesome fish. But like us humans, you could have the same mother and father. I hope I have, but my siblings are totally different to me.
Well, they will be.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. Once you get into the genetics, so you can narrow things down, and the blood gets quite thick. So even Sakos, if you look at their initial pairing that created a lot of their parents, it's a Kahaku Sankey cross, and then from that they got Kahakus and Sankeys, and they've gone down lines. But they're like their mainstay of fish. But yeah, you can buy an amazing fish and breed from it and get shit results. But those shit results could be genetics, it could be environment, and it could be
there's a lot to it,
fish
isn't
cross with it. You might change a male to a different female and get different results. What we tend to see is it's not the generation. So we buy the best fish we can afford to buy of a certain line to breed from. The offspring quite often aren't as good as we'd hoped, but we've used those offspring, and you start seeing the grandparents reflected. You get a much better representation, and the more you obviously can follow lines, the more you see those resemblances come back through. So it's not necessarily.
But then again, at the same time, then that's the bit, Rick, where you have to bring something else in then, because you end up starting to make those genetically weaker, don't you?
Yeah,
although they look better.
They've all done it. So yeah, you're always in that boat between beauty against strength against growth, against whatever you're trying to achieve. All we can do is, and all we've done for 30 years now, is if a breeder is known for breeding good Chagoi, then that's the breeder we'll go to get some Chagoi, and then try and use that and maybe cross it with something else from somewhere else, or even straight line breeding, whatever, to try and get the best results that work in our ponds and our environment. And yeah, it's not always the best fish. Well, to be fair, I mean, maybe the year before, we did a Dainichi Matsue cross of Sankeys that should have been the dog's bollocks. 30,000 fish, not a single keeper at 2 inch.
Yeah, I remember.
And you're like, that's just a complete. But you look at the parents and you think, well, how's that even possible? But that's you don't throw those parents away, but you just don't put them two back together again.
Put a different male and a different female together. And for all those that are wondering, yes, Matt is now sat there in his pants as his jeans are behind him, and that was his naked inner thigh that we got a shot of.
He's always got his pants on.
He's just trying to drum up some more ladies to the channel. That's what it is.
I don't have a problem.
A good example that's fairly new in the bloodline category is the NND DK Shiro line. You can see what they've done over the last 3-4 years, and where they've come to with regard to changing the male fish against the female until they're getting the results that they want. But again, what you have to look at is their top fish. They've only got 5 to 10 top end fish that they keep for showing themselves. But the ones that do make it through the culling process, the one that I've got 3 in my pond. They're all fantastic, for the price that you pay. But again, it shows that bloodlines are extremely important. And again, it comes from the breeder. So when you look at the likes of Saki, Dainichi, Momotaro's, the top 3 sort of jumbo Tozai body lines that everyone likes to inject the genetics into, Omasako's the best when it comes to the Shiro line, and that parents at our Omasako fish that are bred by DK.
You've got some Shiro Rick that you were expecting really good things from, weren't you? But produced.
I still am, yeah. So but that's also again, it's a second generation thing. So generally, our next generation do better than
the first
set. But yeah, this particular set of Shiros, they look good. They did start well, but developed so much secondary Benny and whatever that they're pantsed off. They're done. But that can come down to the same male was used for 2 different females. The results are completely different. So it's just
I knew you'd bring
some in. Yeah. So we've got Shiros from Omasako, we've got Shiros from the DK line ones, and we've got Shiros from Okawa. They're all Omasako based, but they're different. The breeders actually choose different qualities that they're looking for when they're breeding. The Okawa ones, the Sumi patterns and quality is different to the DK line ones from Fuji, which is and obviously that breeder's picking a fish to breed from for a specific set of traits, and then they're breeding from them. Their fish might have the best patterns, but only grow to 65 cm, someone else has grown monstrous, but actually the pattern's a dog. You know, so you depends on what you're aiming to achieve with specific fish as to what the results are. The chance of you getting fish that are going to have the best sumi, the best body, the best overall growth, the best shiroji, just all in one package, generally it just doesn't happen, does it? So you've got to choose.
So one of the crosses that you did then ended up with weak sumi and then secondary Benny.
Didn't have so much weak sumi, but the secondary Benny was monster problem. But both fish, I know the parents. I know everything about them. But
you got a lot of yellow fry from them though, didn't you, as well?
That's from the original big female. She produces such a small number of black offspring that it's painful. But the quality of those offspring are really good. Yeah. So yeah, it's difficult. But you always try something else. So you'll try a different male, or you'll try using one of her offspring. So one of her offspring also produced a lot more black offspring. They looked amazing patterns. They looked really good. Get them to whatever they were when we did them in the autumn, and they just develop in secondary, which for Shiros is just it's like having Benny falling off Sankeys or whatever. It's just one of those things. No good. Back to the drawing board. You know,
which again, mate, it shows that genetics play a huge part in what fish become available.
Yeah, well, it's just the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? You always want to have more, whatever spawning you do, and you want as many fry to be in the right. If you're doing black base fry, you want as many black base fry to start with to get your numbers. But if those fish, it doesn't matter if you've got 10 times more of them. If they've all got problems with secondary Benny, then the whole lot's no good. But I might find that Shiro is actually much better to cross with a shower and actually make really nice shower. I might find a different Shiro male that I put with it. We don't have any problems. That's where you got to keep. That's why we do so many small spawnings. And rather than filling the farm with going, this fish is amazing, let's fill the farm with them, to find out that they actually will turn out crap.
Yeah, that's too much.
Lots of small spawnings. You go, well, actually that works, that doesn't. We'll go with that. We'll do more of this. You know, we probably have, this year was pretty good, but I think there's one spawning this year that's got no keepers from, really. Well, that Shiro spawning wasn't good, but we did a Matsukawabaki spawning that, yeah, they're still very black.
They're still not very developed. Yeah,
there's patterned ones, but they've not done what they normally do and break up as early as they do into nice sort of Matsukawabaki patterns. They're still, but I'm loath to get rid of them because the bodies, the growth, the ginrin, the skin, everything else is really nice. But
everything else is good. It's just
they're just black. They're just very, very black
for the Shiroji to come up.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they'll probably end up going cheap, and
then they'll all come up, and you'll be like, bastard.
What I think that a lot of people don't understand either for Rick is it's a bit like the gamekeeping. Rick would do a breeding in April, May, and if it goes tits up, he's got to wait another whole year to try it again.
Yeah, it's a large window, isn't it? It's between the time that you can get it, produce it, see what they do, and then bollocks. That's a season gone, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
you've got to go for it again next year with a different thing that you don't know 100% it's not going to work again until you try it. Unless
that's the fun of the fair, isn't it? So that's why we do, if we can do 30 different parent sets a year, we won't have masses of any one thing, but we're spreading our bets, and we also got some we know what we're expecting.
That's definitely going to work, yeah.
And then we always do some experimental ones, and some are magic and many aren't.
But that's why I was thinking, Ricky, just a minute ago about the salmon. If you can hatch them at 6 to 20 weeks old, you could, if you could do it with a koi, you could hatch, see the performance of those fish in the next 20 weeks, and if they have done well, you could hatch the rest of them.
Yeah, I can't do that, mate.
No. It'd be cool, wouldn't it? You imagine being able to do that. Just put them on the back burner and keep them there. But if it does well on the next 20 weeks, then we'll hatch them. If not, we'll bin them. Because then you could basically you could do more parent sets and just bin off the ones that haven't.
If you get all that weed out of that goddamn pond and put a wall through the middle of it, it'd be able to do a couple of more sets, couldn't it? Just saying.
Can't get the weed out of the pond.
I know. Have you had any luck?
His pond, we've not drained yet. Keep putting it off.
I'm not surprised. There was a lot of weed, wasn't there?
But yeah,
Right,
I think that's the thing. The weird thing about even when you do hit a good set, if you do a bigger scale the following year, if you don't get everything bob on, it will still go to crap. So, yeah, that's just the way it goes, isn't it? So,
What do you think is going to happen with this? I mean, it wasn't more, kind of had more of a prime example of how environment and stuff could change things in breeding and spawns and what you've done with the experiment that you did this year. Well, sorry, last year. How do you think the Sankey one's going to go?
I think hopefully everyone, what we've learned, the majority of people that did well, there's a similar theme. So hopefully that we're doing less fish per person, and if people follow that theme, I think the actual overall quality would be better. But what the individuals come out like, it's one of those. And it's one. Who else is going to do? You know, those parents have cost me a shitload of money, and who else? Chances are I might only have 50,000 fry from them if all goes well, and a good majority of them are going to leave the farm before we even see what they're like. Because now, some of the best Sankeys going out, and they're going out for peanuts. What is an opportunity for people, to get their hands on something that's a bit special. Potentially, I mean, they could be absolute shite. There's no knocking. That's and with Sankeys, realistically, 1 in 100 might be half decent. 1 in 1,000 might be a real nice level. So, yeah.
We've showed this before, Susan, in a breakdown of fish, of Suris, where how a fish has changed from Tosai right through to Yonsai, and the development of the fish and how much the Sumi changes within that period and stage. She says there, I've got a Sumi that seems to be taking forever. I've got a Shura that the Sumi seems to be taking forever to come up. How old before the Sumi comes up? I mean, is there a set time to it, really?
Sometimes
4 years, 5 years could still be developing, could come up, might not come up.
Yeah, that's the problem. You see a lot of these development pictures, which are brilliant, but that's fish that have done what you expect or better than you expect. A lot of fish, they don't ever come up. They have a pattern, it comes down, and it hovers under the skin, or it doesn't come back up properly. That's the amount of shearers you see in people's ponds like that.
Or it does what some of mine have done. It's come up quick, and then within a matter of months, it's gone back down again. But you can still see it's...
It does some weird stuff. But yeah, with any virtually all development pictures you see, that is the good examples of a fish progressing as you want, as you hope. But they don't all do that, unfortunately.
I have a very demanding question here, which I forgot, Sarah. I apologize. Gaz, are you going to answer my question about doing a live on the 30th? Now, the 30th will be, obviously, will be the 30th, which will be a Thursday night, which will be us. We'll have been there 1, 2,
4 in the morning.
We will have been there 6 days. And I did say that I was talking to Jeff and to Vicky overnight, and I said, although there's been an auction done from there, don't ever think there's been a live done from there. But it would be stupid o'clock in the morning. Now, I might be interested in doing one or doing something, but it'd be working out a timescale. So watch this space. That's all I'll say. Not going to say no, and I'm not going to say yes, because it depends how much I like lemon sours.
A lot.
Could like them a lot. Might not be my cup of tea.
Not a cup of tea, definitely.
Question for Rick from Daniel.
All right.
But But I'm waiting, Daniel, because I've got a long topic of the next two, so we will wait for Daniel. There we go. Thumbs up from Sarah. We'll see. Not saying yes and not saying no. Well then, Daniel.
Question, Rick. How did you get on? I heard that you said you got a Kawa shearer. So
yes.
I kept one back in the shop from when I first started down at Perfect. It had the best body line, the best.
The secret pond, folks.
It's not actually. It's in the main pond. So best body line. It had best chance for getting big. Looking at the structure. But the Sumi was well
coming on.
Sumi was well down. So everyone overlooked it. So I decided to keep it to learn from. So, like I thought, it's grown really well. But the Sumi is only just starting to show, and that's now two years in. Have you found that the Ikawa line Sumi is a harder progressor than Omasako?
Not from the ones I've had. They've come up quick and quite easy and not a problem. But I think even if you breed from one spawning of sheros, we'll have fish that do all of the above. Some that have a pattern from real small and it basically doesn't really change.
Yeah.
Some come and go. So obviously when we do the first cull in the autumn, like the last cull for the winter, that everything I keep will have head patterns and
yeah,
they'll go off. Some stay, some almost come back plain Shiro Mujis, and you think, well, I know did have good patterns. Yeah, and you get some that come up like Kage underneath and then slowly thicken up. Others just sort of almost out of nowhere, just boom.
Yeah,
they do all sorts, and that's from one parent set. So I don't think you can judge Kawa Shiros. The majority of us think that they are a lot more Sumi up and a lot quicker than most other lines, but they're all from them, so they've all got the same genetics. You might get one that's actually got a much better body that grows better, but the Sumi just refusing to really pop.
Yeah.
You sell that to a customer, he sticks it in his cold pond or whatever. 2 weeks later, it's looking better than you've ever had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had better spawn sets from Omasako direct rather than go down a secondary breeder?
So far, but we've really Omasako's the main ones we've been doing for years. So it's only recently we've got other fish to play with. So yeah, watch this space.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. I don't know. I think a big problem with the Omasako ones, the old sets we used to have massive problem with the body lines and structure. This new big one we've got is just phenomenal body, but we just don't get the same numbers of keepable offspring. But the offspring we do get are really good.
Yeah. How old is she now?
Well,
7.
You've got a. Yeah, I was going to say you must have had her 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, it's got to be 7, I should think. But it's just a tank. If that had been kept growing somewhere, that would be enormous.
Huge.
It's been cold. Yeah, it was only ever grown. I think it was come as a jumbo Tozai, and he grew it for one year before we got it, maybe 2. Yeah, that was a 74 centimeter sound size when we got it.
It was massive. She was a gem.
And yeah, she would have just been colossal, but it's been in cold water ever since. But it gives it the longevity. It still looks pretty good.
Question for what was from Daniel Rick. After buying high-level Shuru at Suri with nice, neat Motoguru in the pecs, during QT, the Motoguru has started to go crazy. Will it recede as they grow?
If it's moving about already, it probably will. But the trouble with anything is the Sumi is so affected by water conditions that you could buy a high-level one that's been grown in soft water out in Japan, always been kept warm, always been kept in soft water. You bring it back to this country, and it could do all sorts. You might find that the Sumi comes up all over. What was a nice, high-level, clean-looking Shiro can develop way too much Sumi and become a bit of a bit of a mess, unfortunately. I think all you can do with them is patience.
Patience and wait and see.
If the body's tend to be the worst thing with them. If the body's good, the structure's good,
as well.
and the Shiroji's good, then it's just a waiting game, isn't it? Just
Put some money.
the Sumi does react odd sometimes.
Sorry, Daniel.
Quick question there. It's for Daniel is what classed it as a high level shearer, and why are you basing your purchase on the Motoguru in the fin? Because if one thing's going to change, it's going to be Motoguru in the fin anyway.
Yeah, normally recedes back, doesn't it?
If it
it normally comes out and then comes back side.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, you want it there to start with, because if you haven't got the trouble is,
by receipt, I mean,
one fin or not, they can look a bit off, don't they? So you do want Sumi in the fin.
I thought that was an identification of what was going to be a good Sumi. The quality of the color in the pecs would indicate good quality to come up in the body of the fish.
It gives you an idea, doesn't it?
Anywhere on it.
Yeah, one of those like tells.
Yeah, anywhere you've got good Sumi, generally you tend to not have two types of Sumi on a fish. So if you've got good Sumi somewhere, it's generally going to come up good. But the reality is where it comes up, how it comes up, what it does in your water.
Yeah.
That's why good ones are rocking or shit. But if you haven't got any, if you've got, quite often you have at series that have got no Sumi in one fin, and if they don't develop any, they can look quite, they just don't look as good, do they? They're unbalanced. It just looks, So although the quality
background then.
But yeah, I think I wouldn't worry too much about it, to be fair. There's nothing you can really do about it. If you can't change your water chemistry to an extreme level, then it is what it is. And just look after it as best you can. Be patient.
Patience is key in all koi keeping.
Next quick one. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the stuff that you use is visqueen. Hi, Ricky. Where do you buy your cheap pond liner from? Cheers.
Just agricultural, Gats, Mole Valley, whatever they're called. Those kind of places. It's not a pond liner. We use it.
Plastic sheeting in it, but it's that
plastic sheeting.
Yeah.
It's designed for putting over silage to keep it dry or wet or whatever they do with it. I don't know really. Or growing mushrooms on.
Very, very similar to visqueen, which you would get for lining a surface before you was to put down as like a weed membrane, then you'd chuck your crush and run over top of it if you were going to do a block paving type thing.
Yeah,
that's
really thick. But yeah, it's the same stuff, 200 micron or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You just don't, if you're going to build a pond that you're going to keep for more than a few years, you go to Matt or whatever and buy a box weld rubber liner. If you've got something temporary where you need to just, like we do, chuck something in for a big volume of water, short term, whatever, then it's a means to an end, but it's not.
It's a cheaper product when you're going to be replacing it on a regular basis without having to cost the earth.
Yeah, most of our ponds doesn't matter. Well, if they get a hole or whatever, it's not a major issue, is it? They hold water enough to do a crop of fish from or whatever.
Yeah,
it's not something you're going to run for 3 or 4 years in your garden. It's got to run at a specific level because you get a hole in it. It's just a pain in this. Yeah.
Answer from Daniel is my answer for crafty is I bought Kobayashi San. Oh my God! This year,
number one. It's number one.
Black says our water changes Suri so much.
Yeah, but I mean,
rather it didn't. But he says I shall be patient underneath that.
But Kashira is definitely Kobayashi number one fish. However, is unsure on what it's going to do. That's what your Kashira stands for. So,
but yeah, this is up to the end of the day. This is number one fish. The structure, skin quality, everything else should be banging.
It's the unsure aspect of what it's going to be like.
It's just the end sort of pattern, Sumi placements. Quite often, my number one fish doesn't end up being my number one fish a few years later, but they're generally still good.
Yeah.
The thing is, that's coin it. When you have a number 1, you also have a number 10, because quite often they're all sort of good, but one might have that little bit of magic, and you think that's the one, and it sometimes is. It's probably.
I'll tell you what, I've seen Kobayashi's Shiro as well. He does some. He gets some cracking results from his parent set that he uses. Fucking really good. Yeah.
Just a quick one. At the top of the comment section, you'll see there's a little poll going that says, "Would you like to see a live from Japan?" At the present, we've got 29 votes and 132 people watching.
Guys, do you want me to give you a bit of advice?
I'm just wondering if people would be interested in seeing it, but when we've only got 29 votes out of the 132 people, that would say no.
Let me give you a bit of advice. The time difference over there is immense, mate. All right.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be super excited, mate, every day of the week. So
listen to me, mate. You're gonna be knackered at the end of your first
Crafty, make him do it. We want it.
I've got no problem in doing it, but I might have to switch the hours a little bit. It might end up starting a little later. I mean, how do you mean no? We just do a
7:30. We all know it's 7:30.
7:30's 4:30 in the morning, though.
The problem you've got, guys, to go live, right? If you're going to go live, you want to go live from the fish houses because you can.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking about doing. Mate, the time difference of going live there is you're in bed, aren't you? Yeah.
Right. So,
Yes, exactly that, Rob. I will be sat at the end of my bed waiting for Ryan to walk down that corridor saying, "We're going. Where are you?" I'll be like, I've already had breakfast, mate. Let's go.
And doing a live like this is going to be out of the question. The interlink in the hotel is a little bit, depends where you get.
But I have got capabilities, well, depending on what my connection on the phone's like. I've got unlimited internet, mate, so I can use as much as I want whenever I want. So
just make him do it.
We'll see.
But don't.
I'm not promising anything. No.
Don't waste your day, mate, by ended up being absolutely fucking groggy, mate, because you've gone live, if you know what I mean. Yeah. It's like you need to enjoy it when you're there, pal.
Exactly.
And a good head of sleep, because it's tiring. You're that busy all day, going everywhere, and then out for a meal, a couple of beers, you get to bed, you're up again 6 hours later, and then off again. And your
6 hours sleep.
Your first
6 hours
day, mate.
sleep.
Do you know what time you're landing?
It's about 7 o'clock, guys.
What, morning?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Right, so you've got your 13 to 15 hour flight, depending which way around the world you're flying. Right, you'll land. You've got your 2 hour journey on the bullet train. You'll get out of the bullet train. You'll walk to the hotel.
8:35 takeoff, 7:25 +1 Tokyo.
You will be in Nagata by midday that day.
He won't. It'll be the show, won't he?
Going straight to show, so it'll be hotel, offload, changed, straight to show.
Oh yeah, and the first day, mate.
Suit, tie,
like that. Suit and tie my ass. I am yet to find out. I shall find out and see if we need to do.
Are you going to Nagata?
Yeah,
you are.
I believe so. I think. Ryan said a 4-hour train drive once we finished at the show, or a 4-hour journey.
You're going on the slow coach.
I don't know. I don't know if that means we're driving or I honestly don't know. I don't care.
It is about a 4-hour drive.
Oh, if you're driving, yeah. I was thinking on the train then. I was like, are you going north or south? Okay. If you're driving, about 4 hours, yeah.
Go to Japan, put his foot down. I'm going to nick that little Mini. That Mini Cooper's coming home with me. Whoever's that belonged to.
That's Doritos, mate. Good luck with that.
That carries me. That looked wicked, that. Really did. So there we go. We're going to end the poll there at 91% yes and 9% said no. We will see. I've got an idea that people will be interested in it, but I'm not promising
if you put it on, people will look at it. 100%. And if they don't look at it live, they'll look at it afterwards, won't they?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I could technically go live for all those people that don't ever sleep. 2 hours on train, guys. Yeah, Ryan said 4 hour tour, so we could be driving, Jeff. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be meant to go.
If it's 2 hours on the train, you'll be going to Nagar. What I would suggest, if you want a really good breeder that will give you some entertainment, a good laugh, Kobayashi is fucking a funny bloke, man. Really funny guy. Okay. He's fisher banging as well.
We shall see them all somewhere.
But yeah, I mean, there is that option as well. The message there that's just said, why not do a live on the Saturday instead? That way, then you could do it in the morning here, more chance where people are able to watch, which is evening there. There's options. We'll see. We will see.
Well, you won't be in the fish houses in the evening, will you, guys?
We could do it from the karaoke bar, Matt.
Oh, that'd be right.
Done.
I was getting worried what you were going to say there.
Do yourself a favour. Don't do it from a karaoke bar.
I wasn't going to do it. I do intend to get Jeff Lee singing his heart out, though. Apparently, he says he's going to do Eminem. That's got to be worth for shits and giggles. That's definitely got to be worth having a laugh at. Right, we got a question here then from David Thompson, and then we're going to go on to, can you ask Rick, the Sume has underskin or is it just starting to come up on coming out on the koi, the Sansai Akawa? Let's have a. Oh, and you've filmed it that way. Right, let's go for it. Fatal error there. Always that way, never that way. Unless you're taking a picture of your grandkids.
And I'm still doing this full time.
Because we don't get to see a great deal. And that's as big as I can make it.
Unless you're doing TikTok.
Yes, unless you're doing TikTok or a short on YouTube.
Who's this from, Gus?
That the shooter at Syria just went past the window there, I believe. That's what we were looking at.
Oh, is this from Daniel?
No.
David Thompson, son. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be quite happy with that.
Yeah, me too.
If that comes up, that'll be lovely.
That should, yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about that.
So, guys, I sent you 2 videos just a minute ago.
You did, mate. That's how I know I got loads of messages because they all went going. Ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom.
2 Omisako Shiros, a video of a Omisaka Shiro, and the better picture of when the Sumi was up was during the winter months, and then he was brought and transferred over to another pond, put on heat, and the colour just fell out of it totally. And he took the temperature back down and slowed up the heating process to get it back up to the temperatures that he was running the pond at, and all the Sumi popped straight back out again.
Great. Let's have a look at that one then.
That fish there should come good, mate. I'll be quite happy with that.
And Matt done it the same way.
So that's him as it was sold. It's not a very good video, but you can see the Sumi on it.
Yeah,
as sharp as you like. And he bought it, and then within a week, it had fallen apart, and colours came out of it that have now resided and gone back in again.
And I hope now, ladies and gents, when I pick either left or right and go back, I go back to the right picture, and it's not a picture of Matt that he just sent underneath his table of him in his pants. So I apologise if it is.
There you go. Look at it.
Thank God for that. I went the right way.
That's bad, isn't it? I was in a 2-week window. They went from the other fish to that fish, and then he brought the temperature back down and slowly put it back up, and it came out.
They counted up the cash.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, but the seam you can do crazy stuff, can't it? It's not the way it sits in the skin. Quite often it'll drop. You can almost drop them off if you move them and stress them. They can do some, yeah. But that's a quite weird example. Do you want some Masako?
Yeah, Omisako, definitely 100%. He left here in April when my temperatures were just, I believe, from memory, about 12 degrees. And he put it up to 24 degrees in a week. And it fell apart, took it back down to 12. It started to come out, and then he slowly brought it back up temperature, and it remained there.
I like Andrew's thinking here. Gaz, if you go live, it's better that you get up at 4 a.m. and we join you at 7:30.
Exactly.
Then we all get up at 4 a.m. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one.
100% agree.
There you go, then.
Definite. But yeah, Sunni's a funny one, isn't it?
Peter says, Gaz, go and enjoy the trip and do when you get back. It's the trip of a lifetime, so just enjoy it.
Oh, that's nice.
It is, mate. You're right there. It is going to be that. So.
Yeah, good job that was a Shiro, not a Kahaku, because it wouldn't have come back.
Gaz is going to get lost or eaten by a bear or bugs. Cheers, mate. Most of the bears will be hibernating if you knew anything about bears, and the bugs won't be out because it's winter. So I'm just going to worry about getting lost.
Can't get lost, mate.
Do you know they've got 5 different types of bear in Japan? 5 different types of bear.
There you go.
Some of them are damn big and all, and pretty much almost identical to a grizzly. Big ass brown bears.
Big ass ones.
Yeah, big bears.
But they won't be about. It's winter.
Go live at one of the evenings. Piss Up is the weekend. Plenty of us would like to see what you're all up to. There we go.
I might go live on the 11th and get Ricky to sing me happy birthday again.
You'll be going live on Valentine's Day, mate. You just don't know it. Rick's going to be putting that one up.
Yeah. My OnlyFans page, mate. I've got 80,000 viewers on that as well.
Right then, a couple of topics to talk about. Next one being Benny. How can we improve it in the terms of longevity, intensity, thickness, shine, and uniformity? Not sure that's a word, but it fits. That's what it says.
There you go.
I'm not sure that is a word, but it does fit.
Uniformality. That's what it is.
Uniformality. Right, there you go.
But I don't think it's a word, but it does
It's
work.
uniformity.
Uniformity. That sounds better, doesn't it? Formality.
Scratch that. Right. So, Benny, how can we improve it in the terms of longevity, intensity, thickness, shine, and uniformity? How can we improve it? That's got to be the majority of that's got to be water conditions and food.
PlayStation, kettle,
And genetics, yeah. But what can we do? What can we do to give our fish the best?
Well, we can hope and pray that people such as yourself breed from class stock with all those aspects already being picked and selected.
But if the environment ain't right and the food ain't right, then
That's the thing, mate. Isn't it? We've seen what how much environment makes a difference. For example, with your Aragoki styles and patterns, colours, how some of them didn't get any at all and others got shitloads, all just from different temperatures ranges.
Temperatures, the whole thing is, you can't do it without genetics. But I think it's 50-50 between genetics and environment. Yeah. Obviously, if you give a shit fish a great environment, it'd be okay. But if you haven't got the genetics, you can't have a good fish. But you can ruin a good fish pretty fucking easily with poor environment.
I think the question's best suited, Rick, is how do we prevent destroying the Benny?
Good question.
Not pushing too much. Trying to push forced growth into a fish that struggles to allow its colour to keep up with the growth.
See, I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
I do.
I'm not. I
Don't.
wasn't saying it was a thing. I was just saying it's a thing.
Yeah, if you try and grow right a good kahaku fat, you can ruin it very easily.
Yeah.
But if you give it the right conditions to be grown fast, then you've only got to look at what they do out in Japan. They grow them insanely fast, and they can look amazing if done in the right manner. You know, why would a fish's muscle and bone and organs be able to grow at a certain rate, but it can't produce the colour to grow at the same speed? That doesn't make any sense.
Would that not be the primary things it needs for existence, which would be bone structure, body, and mass? Colours really just.
But they don't. It doesn't work, does it? Yeah, but life doesn't work like that. If an organism
but it's not
is
like
growing,
a female koi is attracted to a male koi because of his pattern, because you'll see any old mutt breed with anything, won't you?
yeah, but what I'm saying is, an organism that grows at a certain speed, it doesn't just grow parts of it at a certain speed. The only reason you might ruin, say, the colour is if certain things weren't in place to allow it to grow at the speed that everything else is growing at. So if you give it the right,
for example, it might need a certain additive or item in the food to develop Benny at the pace and which it's growing at.
Yeah, so you're not forcing them to grow faster. Basically, some people do. Yeah, if you put a good kahaku in 30-degree water, feed it shit food, you can ruin the Benny, or you can put it in a tank where it gets sunburnt to crap. But the reality is, if you grow a fish a centimetre a week and give it everything it needs for every part of its development, then it will look. I mean, Christ, Ricky does it all the time. You see his fish growing like crazy, and the quality of them looks really good. And you think, well,
yeah, but if we look at it really, when you say that, it doesn't, does it? Because he
Well, it
gets
does
a
a lot of
whole,
them.
he gets a whole batch of fish, and he does 4 grades down through them all, and all the ones that he takes out that aren't going to make the grade, and then he grows on the best ones. So he's
still growing the better ones and getting the condition of them.
He's selecting through them, isn't there? That's
Well,
what I mean.
But that's what everyone does.
That's
But what I'm
grading,
saying,
isn't it? That's
if you
how
brought
you get the best of the best.
if you brought one good fish and you give it the right environment, you can grow at a centimetre a week.
Yeah, easily.
And you can keep the Benny, you can keep everything looking absolutely mint if you've got everything in the right. And this is where the problem comes. A lot of people might grow them through the winter when you haven't
Is
got.
that pushing?
No, I don't think it is pushing.
Or is that putting the fish in the right environment?
Right environment to grow.
What if you're putting that fish at 29 degrees?
That's the thing, isn't it?
50 fish in at 29 degrees, right? How many are going to deteriorate because you're pushing them so hard?
I don't think it's not because you're pushing them so hard. It's because you can't maintain the environment at its optimum level. So you put the more fish you put in there, the water quality will suffer. The amount of contaminants in the water will be greater. The level of food you're generally going to feed them is going to be different. If you're feeding one fish and you're giving it the best of everything, suddenly you're feeding 100 fish, you're going to use something generally that isn't perhaps as good or whatever. So you're creating an environment, and if you do it through a time of year when you haven't got enough UV to promote the colour, then you're going to make the better. And a lot of the time you see fish that are grown in an environment where something's lacking and the Benny looks weak. You see that sort of redder heart to a scale and a lighter outer ring and whatever. That's not because it's been growing fast. That's because it's not had everything it needs to be growing fast.
Which is perfect.
So it's missing.
I needed you to say that because a lot of understanding Benny comes from selection.
Yeah, but that's if you
can't enhance.
There's misconceptions about.
There's no way of
if it's shit Benny
fish. There's no way that you're gonna improve bad quality Benny. The bad quality Benny is always going to be bad quality.
Yeah, but you can improve bad quality Benny, but you'll only improve it to as good as it can be, but it's still bad quality.
Yeah.
So you can turn a pretty shit fish to look as good as a very good fish. If different people keep it, the two will come almost together. You can ruin a good fish and improve a bad fish to the point where there isn't such a big gap. But that's because the environments are completely different where they're being being reared or raised, and that's where the skill comes in from a breeder to be able to grow a fish at that rate and make sure everything's available for it in terms of, it's not just light, the amount of day length makes a difference, the light intensity, the light quality, the diet, everything about the water itself, the genetic, they all come together in this sort of pool of balance.
But Benny's more than that, because you look at the sashi, how deep that goes and what that's going to create for the fish further down the line. You look at the kiwa and how that's going to develop to become a better looking, acceptable standard. Not necessarily the Benny plate, because the Benny plate itself, as long as it's consistent throughout, that is where you hit your higher quality stuff. If it's going to be washed out in some places and not others, the chances are you're not going to be able to get all of that, the pallor in that scale to the same depth of colour. How deep is the Benny as well?
But that all comes obviously from the depth of the Benny and stuff comes more from the genetics than the environment.
So would the depth of the Benny be classed as the intensity?
Not really, no, because the depth is, you've got so many layers of skin on top of the scale underneath in the dermis. So you've got good, but it's like any good colour, you've got it thicker, haven't you? Has he just turned up with food?
Yeah,
he's got double Big Mac.
Got a double Big Mac, cheeseburger and fries and a strawberry milkshake.
But if you've got
on top of that
thick colour,
but you've got to understand the top, middle, and bottom layer as well, haven't you?
Yeah, but so you'll have, the whole point of it is you've got to look after all, and almost you've got to feed it to some degree with colour foods, and obviously the type of colour food you use is going to make a massive difference. Mm-hmm. If you overdo it, it ain't great. But I think if you're using natural colour enhancers, you can't overdo it. All you can do is start painting some of the shiroji and whatever. It's a lot of people say it's stretching the Benny when you're growing fast, and I think it's not stretch. What's basically happening is you're growing a fish without giving it what it needs to produce what it needs for the colour.
Isn't that why they give them the winter period to allow that colour pigmentation to come back in, and then grow them again through the summer and rest them through the winter, grow them again through the summer, rest them through the winter, for all that colour pigmentation to come back?
Yeah, but again, a lot of that you get a certain bit of consolidation pretty quickly, but in reality, maybe they're cleverer than that. And if you try and grow a fish through the winter when you haven't got the day length, the light intensity, the light quality, you start to ruin the Benny.
That definitely is a factor.
So you've got a situation where you're thinking, well, we can't give them the environment to grow them, so we'll give them that rest period.
We'll give them that rest by
increases. So when you do try and grow them in that period without one element being right, you start to see damage or weakness or whatever.
So when you're talking about the terry on a koi, then, i.e., the shine, do you like that? Shine. If it ain't got that, how do you get that luster? How do you get that back?
Again, you can't. That comes from the quality of the fish, but also again the environment. Again,
which should be the reason why we always say the first thing is body, luster, pattern.
There's lots of other bits, but yeah.
I know, but I mean that's the three main things that you should be looking. Look, you want a good-bodied fish first of all, don't you?
But depends on when you're buying the fish, though, isn't it?
Because if we can't get a good-bodied fish shine to it, that's something we can never put into it.
No, the body you can change. You can't change the
bone
structure.
We can put in.
So what you look for is the right bone structure for the age. Yeah, but you look if the bone structure ain't right for the age and size of the fish, that's the thing. The body is kind of if you see fish that are being starved, ready for transport, their bodies are fucking horrendous, aren't they?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's the bone structure you can't change. You can change the body of a fish with diet, environment, and everything else, and it changes with age. That is something you can change.
Into the fish, so that's one category that you've got to.
The shine of the fish, the skin quality's got to be there. The shine's got to be there, but you can improve or ruin again. Diet, water, all of these things go hand in hand, don't they? So you can control certain things. Pattern you can't control. So you're buying a fish. If you're buying, everyone says you shouldn't really look at the pattern, but in reality, the pattern's one thing you can't change. And if it's got a shit pattern,
there's always going to be a shit pattern in it.
You ain't changing it, are you? Unless it's a sumi-based fish that might do something unexpected, but in reality,
or a fish that like a Matsukawabaki that could fluctuate and change.
Yeah. So you've got to look at, although pattern should be less on the scale, it's got to be something that needs to be looked at. Obviously, that commands generally the price as well, doesn't it? The better the pattern controls the price. But yeah, I think that the whole looking after the Benny on fish, certain things just get light is so important, and temperature is mega important, and those two things sort of get overlooked for foods and genetics and whatever. In reality, if you haven't got those things right, then you're going to struggle anyway.
Is the pattern at all relevant for you then, Rick? If you saw a kahaku that had a real shit pattern, its head halfway back was all Benny, and then
well, the ones with a shit pattern, but all the rest of the good aspects. I'm not going to say shit pattern. With a lesser graded pattern, would be a fish that Rick would put in for a quicker sale earlier at a younger fish than putting investment into growing it larger. Yeah.
No, I mean for breeding, guys. I'm saying that.
Oh right, yeah. Sorry.
The thing with pattern is for years everyone said pattern is just irrelevant. It's gone up. From my point of view, that's absolute bollocks. If you breed fish that have got big two-step patterns, the majority of your
two-step patterns.
Yeah, you don't suddenly get 10 flowery step pattern fish from those kind. It just doesn't really happen. So, in an ideal world, yes, I'll pick the fish with the best body, best bone structure, but everything. I can't afford that as a parent fish. So, pattern's one thing that will make a fish a lot cheaper. If the pattern's a bit one-sided, or that is something that can make the difference whole tenfold. It's massive, but everything else can be there. So I can generally the males we use are very pretty in terms of pattern wise as well as quality, because they're much more affordable, and the females you tend to have to think, well, I can't buy the fish I want, but I can buy the fish from the right bloodline with the right body. Everything's right, but the pattern's a bit off.
Pattern's a little bit off. So then you go from hopefully bringing in the pattern from the male side to put to the female, and the hope that you get a curveball out of the female and get some. Yeah,
the pattern is something that is
manipulated.
It runs true, but you get a whole range of stuff back out. But you don't breed two crap fish and get good fish back out. You can breed two good fish and get no good fish, but in reality, you've got to breed with the best you can get hold of and have a percentage of fish that are of the right quality from it.
And
so,
on the breeding, Ricky, with a female that you say has got a shit pattern, it doesn't make that fish any worse for breeding to the male that's got a perfect pattern, because it's only to our eye to what we want in our pond.
Yeah, but in an ideal world, though, you'd have both sides would have the body, the pattern, everything, and you'll get more offspring that follow that line. That's just nature, and that's just the way things work. Pattern's probably the most unpredictable. So that's when if we've got £2,000 to spend on a Sankey female, then I can get a very good fish with not such a great pattern, or I can get a really nice pattern fish, but if it's got a weak body, or then you're going nowhere.
So are you saying then that if you put two quality tanchos together, you're going to get a higher percentage of tanchos from a
100%.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's just standard. I'm not saying you're going to get shitloads of tanchos, but you will get more tanchos from that spawn than you would from putting two-step fish together, or two really flowery. And pattern does roll through. Yeah, there is no doubt about that. And if those two tanchos come from fish that with Marathon or tancho, whatever, you increase your odds if you want to breed tancho.
So we've got a stage 2 to this question, but a couple of us that have been put in. And I'm going to do a little bit of a tongue and cheek with this one. Ollie has asked, Explain to me, if I breed 2 French bulldogs in the UK, they are French bulldogs. Well, first of all, Ollie, just so you know, mate, right? The French bulldog is traditionally an English dog that the French took and made theirs. So actually, all French bulldogs are British because the breed was established in the UK before it went to France. But I get where you're coming from. So if he takes 2 French bulldogs, breeds them together, they're still classed as a French bulldog. But if he breeds 2 Japanese koi in the UK, they're not classed as Japanese koi, they're classed as English koi.
I'll answer it. For me, it's transparency. So yes, they're still Japanese koi, but the word these are Japanese koi infers that they're being imported from Japan.
Yeah. So it's more the sales aspect of it.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, to be transparent, we call them English koi, homebred koi, call them what you like, but it's to be as honest and open about the product that people are buying. That's all. You know, Japanese koi originate in China. We could call them Chinese koi then, but they're not. The Japanese did all the work to create them. Everyone else has jumped on their bandwagon, as we have, to sort of replicate what they're doing without all the air miles and all the expense and whatever. It's just that's the reality of it. I don't know. Yeah, it's one of the it's a strange. Yeah, French bulldog doesn't mean they're all coming from France, does it? Whereas Japanese koi, basically in the term, just means they're coming from Japan. That's what people believe they're buying. Japanese koi
that would be a sales side of it, wouldn't it? That would be more of a manipulation of what they actually truly are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we couldn't get done for calling them Japanese koi because that's what everyone going to just koi from Japan, but we're breeding them here. But in reality, why would you even to make a quick buck or be honest and open about things? I don't know. I just think it's easier. Just that's what it is.
I suppose it's the same as if 2 people from Japan moved to the UK and had a child together, that child would be British.
Of Japanese origin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's exactly the same, isn't it, really? So, I mean, there's no...
Perhaps we should reclaim British with Japanese origin.
There you go. There's another spin on it.
I think it goes a bit deeper than that.
Oh, easy, Tiger. Let's get us a drink first. Good dog inside here.
Oh, mate.
How you like that?
As much as you look at Japanese koi being Japanese, right, irrespective, I think when you look at what is marketed as Japanese koi, you expect them to come from Japan. When you look at what you get from Japan against what you get from the UK, and there's no disrespect what I'm saying here, I'm just putting things into a perspective. You've got breeders that have got access to thousands and thousands and thousands of offspring from multiple parent sets on setups that are 50 times the size of Rick's, for example. So therefore, when you look at what they do and what they put their money in, Rick has said that he can't afford to provide the best parent stock. And actually, that resonates down to some of the smaller breeders in Japan as well. But when you start going the next level, mid to high range, you are looking, and we'll come back to the bloodlines that we said earlier, the amount of work that goes into selection of the parent sets to get the best koi, because the culture in the koi world in Japan is completely different to what happens in the UK as well. You start to look at the quality of the stock. So you will start to see better fish coming from Japan. And I don't think that the UK farms can replicate 80% of what you see in Japan. And I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Oh, I agree, mate.
So when you actually when you start to look down at what the word Japanese in Japanese koi means, it goes that little bit further. I don't disagree with what Rick says with the transparency. Any koi in the UK, they're not kept the same. They're not put through the same breeding cycles. They're not called the same. etc., because the operation is huge in comparison to what you see in the UK. You know, so for me, you pay more mainly because of the transportation costs actually than what you get in Japan. On top of that, the market that you see in Japan is dominated hugely by the Asian market, you know, so the more that they're throwing their money at it, the more expensive it is for us to buy the fish back into Japan from Japan. So the prices are reflective against what happens in Japan, where Rick can cut all of them costs because there's no transportation costs, which, you know, works out between £400 and £500 a box. And then you've got all
Japanese water is damn expensive, isn't it?
Well, fuck yeah.
So is a cardboard boxes.
You know, but then again, the other thing that you put into account is how well the Japanese economy is doing and the conversion rates, because that also plays a part in what we pay as a consumer in the UK as well. Because if we can buy fish at a better exchange rate, that then means that we can pass on that saving back in the UK. Because actually, for me as a dealer, I want to keep my fish to the lowest price that I can possibly achieve. You know, now Rick can pass on so much savings in comparison to what I have to pay. It's unreal. And I think Rick's fish actually are underpriced for what I pay. I know he disagrees with me, but some of the quality that comes from Rick, they're from very good parent stock, and I've seen extremely good results. And actually, some of the fish that you get from Japan, in comparison, Rick's will match pound for pound as well. You know, so definitely. it's about doing your homework and having it's not as easy. Oh yeah, Japanese fish in the UK. Yeah, right. You're being very, very short-sighted when you look at that, because it goes back much deeper.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to produce the level of quality fish that they produce over here,
you'd never be able to achieve it.
It's never, no chance at all, is there?
Not
the only way you'd achieve it is if someone ploughed millions in and made it a loss. Yeah. It's not business.
Your average koi keeper couldn't produce that, could they?
No, because you need. If we converted a whole farm over and then doubled the size of it, and I just bred one parent set, then I would probably be able to compete.
By now, you would be at a good level to
a prop top level. But I would need 40 acres to do one parent set justice. Can't do it. We would make no money. We'd be back.
I have a little brown book here with the Japanese dealers in it. The Japanese dealers there's thousands of them in Japan, believe it or not, thousands. When you look at how much water they've got, it is fucking unimaginable. It's a huge amount of water. You know, 1.5 million square foot surface.
I mean, there's even some big koi farms now that are buying some of the mud ponds from smaller farmers so that they can put some of their stock in there to grow them on, because they've got to such sizes.
But it's more than that as well. When you look at what the breeders are doing, you know, and we've touched on this before, it's the mud ponds over there in different areas are better suited to different styles of fish. You know, it's like the mountains serve a purpose. What you get down south, the water and the conditions are miles apart. You know, they all serve purpose in different areas. It's a huge subject that not many people understand. And what you will find, guys, when you go out into Japan, this will open up your mind to actually what the Japanese do in comparison. And it comes down with that experience. You know, when you go out there, you see it, you start to understand it more. You know, it's fucking mental.
It's going to be really interesting for you, Ricky. You know, 20 years ago you went and see the difference.
That's right.
I don't think the difference. I don't think there'll be that much difference. Mm-hmm. Most of the farms probably I've seen a bit. The level of fish has probably gone up, but it was pretty good anyway. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's the numbers they do is mind blowing. But yeah, we and anyone else that takes fish from Japan, we're just standing on the shoulders of giants, aren't we? We're just trying to give a cheaper way into the hobby. The amount of people that we bring in the hobby is massive because they go to a Japanese shop, go, these are beautiful.
I actually think you would.
Bring
Rick,
people
I'm
in.
going to interrupt you, mate. I think that you under egg yourself so much.
Yeah, I do, mate. No,
you know,
we should have like a button that we can press so it just goes like that from the side of him.
You know,
yeah, but it's just a reality.
I understand where you're coming from as well, Rick. You're being realistic and talking in a sense of not trying to belittle them to make yourself. But let's say, for example, in Japan, from one parent stock on somewhere like Dainichi, they will produce more fry from that one or maybe two parent stock than what you would produce from 30.
Yeah, because we do that on purpose to keep in small amounts. But
yeah, that's
what
it is. They're using more space and more room to do it all, aren't they?
Much better fits. So basically, the reality is, Dainichi, they've got 20 parent sets they might be using that year of showers. Every one of those fish is better than anything we could even breed from. They're then putting them into more space, better conditions, colouring them harder. The end result is I might have one shower a year that would fit into their category group of however many thousands. It's just different. But the other reality is I can sell a nice quality little fish from Dainichi parents for 25 quid. You go to Dainichi, you want to buy that fish, it's 2.5. There's a difference.
There's a big difference.
But the actual reality is that's what it is. If you start somewhere, you learn it, you like it. If you want to spend more, that's the way you go. You know, it's not.
Do me a favour.
What's that little bit that you put up there? That's what.
No. I mean, no. I'm going to show you something else. All right. And this is really going to outline and support what Rick has just been saying. All right. And I'll say it again, as I've said many times. You should really. I've lost you on the thing. Can you still see me?
Yeah, still see you.
You should really take time to have a look at the Japanese websites because they're all transferable they're all translated into English.
How's that place?
Right, and if you show this is Sakai's own website, right, and if you have a look at what his cover video is, it will show you the scale in what Rick's up against in Japan, for example. You know,
not against that guy.
Guys, I think you should show that. I'm not telling you what to do, but yeah, I think.
I thought I'd already clicked it. I'm just watching it. Let me look at size.
When you see the aerial shots, I mean that whole complex there is just part of Sakai's establishment.
They've probably got more area under glass than our entire farm.
Yeah, 100%. It's massive. And when you see the mud ponds, it's only a fraction of what they have. Right. So when you look at the scale of the operation in Japan in comparison to what we can produce in the UK, they're fucking miles apart. So actually, when you then look at what Rick's work is, he does a fucking fantastic job with a small real estate that he's actually got to achieve.
It does. And as Vince says there, 100% crafty. I totally agree, Vince.
Yeah, that's one of mine there. See that?
I remember you selling him.
We all wish.
But I think that's the point. That's the point with the hobby. If you've got 50,000 people that keep koi in this country, the majority of them are keeping fish ponds and koi. That 200 quid would be, a lot of money to spend on a fish. It's only when you start going up to those people, the top end of the hobby, where the Dainichi, Sakai, that are going to spend 2, 3, 4 grand on a fish. That's a small top end, and fair play to them. I mean, I'd love to do it, but that's not where we are. We do something completely different. We do something here that brings people into the hobby. People can keep our fish and expand from us if that's what they choose to do. And we've put loads of our customers, we put them to dealers that do Jap stuff that we recommend. Matt, Crafty, Garrett, Gatwick. We send people to them. That's we've always done it. Because if we can't supply it, then these people can.
Gaz is in that website now, aren't you?
Just watching.
No, I'm not. I'm just looking. Michael Thompson said, I bought this little shooter from New Forest at the end of the season. Look how the Sumi has developed in a short time, but there's no picture there of it. Michael, you haven't posted
It's developed, it disappeared.
Let me just refresh it and make sure that I've got.
On the Shiros, though, Rick, you have nailed it, haven't you?
We haven't nailed it. We're doing all right.
You have. Some of the quality.
Omasaka out of business.
No, you're not. But the Shiros that you've done, some of them have been just phenomenal.
Some of them are, yeah, well, they are. But it's just one for, and in a weird way, that big female almost lends itself. Okay, it's horrible that we get so few black offspring when you spawn her, but that probably plays into our hands. It actually is a small number to look after.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. The less you look after, the better you do of them. But nature as it is, you always try and keep too many. That's just, yeah.
If I allow that there, look, Michael, it says there you bought the little fit, but there's nothing there, mate. The last picture that was uploaded was this one. So it's not come through.
No.
If you've tried to upload one, it's not come through as of yet. So just pop it back in for us again. So then, we'll move on to the next little question that we've got. Question for Rick. Was talking about hormones in the water inhibiting growth. Has the pond detox got a chance at keeping the hormone levels down as well as water changes?
But that's something I couldn't answer it. Possibly yes, but that would probably lead into a whole new topic of conversation about growing fish and putting less in the water to get them to grow better. Yeah, without knowing what's in pond detox and trialing it, I couldn't.
Yeah, there you go. No. Cheers, Frank. Banging video, mate, that as well, that you popped out of the week.
Going to lead on to that same question, is that detox stuff, what does it actually do with all the stuff it says it gets rid of? So the hormones.
It's
Frank, come and tell us. Come on.
It must be a similar product to the Lincolnshire Fish Health Pond Detox or whatever have done something, and it's they will say on theirs it's crushed minerals that basically take stuff out of the water. So if you imagine crushed zeolite will absorb ammonia, you could put dolomite in that would take up heavy metals. So there's the stuff you can put in that will bond up other things and then take it out of the system. I don't know what's in the product. I've never used it. Some people speak highly of it, some people don't, but every pond's different and what people expect from it is different.
Well, I did ask Frank a question, and there wasn't Frank, when I put the question in, there was no malice behind it in any way, shape or form. For what it does and how it reduces chlorine and stuff in the pond, Andy Finch tested the product and said if I was to run that test again, that would 100% come back as a zero. So I asked the questioners, so technically with that one bag of product, would that make obsolete most of Andy Finch's products, i.e., the big blues and such? But well, Frank explained obviously that if you were using it and you was having a trickle in, trickle out, you were always constantly replacing it, so you'd have to be using it in conjunction with. But for somebody that doesn't do a trickle in, trickle out system, you could probably replace your thingamybobs, trickle stage filtration instead, and use the pond detox to do that and get all the other benefits from it as well, which I thought were really interesting, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know if like the pond detox, obviously it goes through the water column. If you then need to be removing it with a drum to take away, what it's taken out is obviously still in your pond. Then ideally you would want to be removing it because it can't stay locked up forever.
It does need to be filtered out.
So, and I don't know. I've not had enough experience with it. I've never spoke to Frank or whatever. I don't. We use certain products to do certain things, but most of them aren't suitable for a nice clear koi pot.
What did you say then?
It does have to be filtered out.
So that's the thing, isn't it? So if you're taking out heavy metals, ammonia, chlorine, and whatever, so chlorine might break down and not be an issue, but that ammonia, if there's like zeolite in the product, that ammonia is bonded to it, then what? You can't just, it's still in there. So let's say if you then put it through a drum and remove it, does that improve?
That's why you have to redose, mate, because it's a redosing product.
Yeah.
You know, you have to strip it out of the water.
To be fair, it's one of those things we never really, I've got so many ponds, but unless you've got two identical setups,
Matt,
which is almost you don't have to, because there's different amounts of light, food, stock. But if you've got that situation, 2 ponds where you could trial it to see the benefits or not, then it's difficult, isn't it? You can do a scientific test and say, well, actually, it's removed phosphates and nitrates from the system. Brilliant. But then how do you get them out of the system thereafter? Do they stay bonded up forever?
Well, you don't.
There's a binding agent rather than anything else, then, isn't it?
I don't know.
Does it bind them all up so that they're pulled out then via your filter system, and you clean your filter system and disperse it out your filter?
So from using it in the shop, right, the results that we get back from that, the water clarity is mint. Okay, we see less ammonia spikes from what we've tested half a bank of ponds with it, and the main pond as well. We've looked at what the readings were before against what the readings were before on the main pond, and also the small ponds against what the other ponds are doing as well. I know they're not like for like, but ultimately I've got enough data to look back at to see what the differences are in the results. We are seeing less nitrite, less ammonia, clearer water. And some of the tanks that we have, the water is different in so many of those. Although they're next door to each other, run on exactly the same flow rate through exactly the same filtration, the water is just fucking different on every single pond.
My question would be, though, Crafty, when you look at that product and what products are already out there and already being used by millions of tropical fish keepers, how is it any different to Safe? Safe, as in the product Safe. Safe neutralizes ammonia, it neutralizes nitrates, and it stabilizes 2 other things. I forget what the other ones are, but it does not everything what that does, but it's very similar to the same product things that Safe says it does.
But one thing
that's tropical fish.
One thing that Frank's product does do, it covers multiple scenarios.
Yeah.
Right. So rather than just isolating one thing and using one chemical to achieve X, Y,
minerals back as well, don't it?
You can go to one product that covers a multiple array of things. Changing things out, and you know the difference that I see is immense. And the only thing that visually that you see after use is you will get a layer in the bottom of your pond of the powder once it's done its business, and that then has to be, you have to have a little bit of extra maintenance in there. If you're not pulling it out, it's a small thing to pay for.
Yeah, clay does the same, doesn't it? You have to sweep it off and just give it a little bit of a fettle up.
And I swear down, you know, I'm not just saying it because I sell it, because I'm using it on my own pond. Right, the events that from what I've seen in the shop has made me pick this up and bring it home to see how well it gets on in my own pond.
Crafty, that shoplifting.
No, it's not. I bought it.
Pay for it, didn't he? He gets his own wages.
I bet, Pete.
But, I would say a product like that, though, is for a shop, heavily stocked, new fish, people that haven't got
perfect for that environment.
The cleanest, best pond, perhaps that might be much more beneficial than someone that's running RO water with us.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know something.
That's what I meant by the question when I asked Frank. That's what I meant.
You know something, Rick, right? Since that's hit our website, that has been the biggest, fastest selling product in for a single item on our website.
Yeah. I can see why.
In time, there's that much of it going about, and I know that the other dealers that stock it have all had really quick sales and really quick stock ups as we have, right? So people are using it, So in time, people will come back with what their findings are.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, that's I'm not being funny. There's just
masses and get the
you can
feedback.
put stuff together. You know, there's minerals and stuff out there that will flocculate water, that will absorb ammonium nitrate. They're there.
Yeah.
Obviously, if someone's put them on a package to use and it works, fantastic. But
Yeah,
I can't have a comment. So I can't answer a question about someone remove. I don't know. If it takes out hormone, Frank said
well,
no.
Frank answered it and said no, it wouldn't remove those type of hormones, which inhibits growth in pond detox. So that question technically got answered really quickly, Frank. No. So, but I do think it's an interesting product. And I said to Frank, I said that it's pretty mint. That it sounds like somebody like me with a more basic pond that's not running a drum filter system, that's not running RO, that only does, you know, a weekly or 2 weekly water clean filter change. That sounds like a perfect product to enhance the quality of my water.
Gus, I will send you a bag.
You said you were going to send me some.
I'll send you some.
And you did say you were going to send that.
You can fuck off.
Well, I got an idea.
Somebody else wants some?
2 identical ponds going to have identical number of fish in there, identical amount of food in there. I can put it in one pond and not in the other.
I'll send you both some. All right, I'll send you both a 2 kilogram bag. All right, and just come back with what your findings are.
Right. Trouble with me, I'd bang in a pond, and I don't know.
That's the thing that you don't know.
That's the thing. Without having all the records of water quality, you know, you just don't know, do you?
Okay. Yeah.
But I was still, it's one of those products. If someone said, "Oh, my pH has crashed," you say, "I'll chuck this white powder and it'll sort it out." You'd be like, "What?"
Oh, that's
everyone now knows you can do it.
It also boosts the KH, doesn't it? Sure, it does. Stabilizes pH and boosts KH, doesn't it? I'm sure I think it does.
Well, I'll read what it says on the packet for guys. Right?
You read that while I show these fish are Rick's.
Not more of mine.
I can't even find me glasses. Yeah. That's how bad it is.
Oh, come on.
To maintain, so weekly to maintain optimal water quality in a healthy, balanced ecosystem. Heavy pollution used during periods of excessive pollution or poor water quality. During spawning, helps combat high levels of ammonia produced during spawning. Newly filled ponds prepares tap water for fish by neutralizing chlorine and heavy metals. Overstock ponds to manage increased waste and maintain water clarity. Poor water clarity when water looks cloudy or murky to bind particles and improve visibility. After heavy rainfall, neutralizes acid rain, surface runoff, and pollutants that enter into the pond.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was interesting on the video.
Used to reduce the toxicity of medications when an overdose has occurred. After medicating, use after treatment to remove residual chemical and dyes from the water. During wound healing, to promote cleaner water and support faster healing. And water changes, add before commencing water changes to neutralize any pollutants that may enter the pond during the process. 10 grams per 1,000 litres of pond water.
Well, that was one of the things that was in Frank's video, and this guy there was somewhere that got flooded, and it ran over from out of the river or wherever it was onto a road through his guy's garden, and literally were flowing straight through his pond and out of the side. And they went over there and got X amount of bags of it and banged it in the pond, and within a matter of days, the clarity was back and everything was hunky dory and never lost a fish. Just having 10 ton of crap running straight off at roadside, straight through which that would have been most people's absolute nightmare, wouldn't it? Yeah. Flood water going into your garden pond.
It's one of those, isn't it? Someone's put some research in it, and if it works, there's enough people enough people buying it. If it works, people will keep buying it. That's it. But that little Shiro's come on nice.
It has, hasn't it? Nice little. Yeah, it's another one you give
a little box of them. Yeah, he pops in and got lucky. Did him a box full. Cost him about £4 each, I think.
Right then, so the second part, because I think we've caught with everybody. Yeah, we have on there. Are there ways of bringing all the elements of our koi to peak in the same time frame, or is it already fixed in genetics?
Cheers, Paul.
Don't know. I just want to go back to that little Shiro, see if you can send it back to me.
You can't do that.
God, you can't do that. It's come up a treat, that, isn't it? That's quite a nice. If we in another 2 years have a progression of that.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see it develop.
And I've got photos of mum and dad. I can see. Not send them now, but yeah.
So is that a little Tosai from this year?
Yeah.
Sorry, last year. God.
What would have been that? Yeah. So 6 months old. It was only 3 inch when he brought it. He brought about 20 of them, 10 of them, 20 of them. I don't know. So he saw him on Lee's video, I think. Lee went in one of the tunnels and went, "Oh, look at them." I was like, "Oh." So they're for sale to the right people. You obviously got lucky.
Take a box full. So are there ways to bring all the elements of a koi to its peak in the same time frame, or is it already fixed within the genetics?
Wow.
What do you reckon? That's again from this guy called Rick.
Well, that pond detox there could play a role in that as well, couldn't it? Because I mean, that a product like that, there's a good chance that will affect the sumi and the skin of the fish.
That's one thing, Crafty. Have you noticed anything? We're going away from that topic, but have you noticed anything like that? Have you noticed quality in the fish's luster of them? You know, like some.
It's not something I've monitored, to be perfectly honest. I mean, our fish are kept in good health anyway. So
no, but you know when people say like when you use certain clays that it makes the fish look more vibrant and the colours look more better and popping, that kind of thing. With it,
mainly concentrated on what it does to the water gas. I ain't going to lie, but I will have a look and we'll come back on that.
I just wondered, just curiosity.
It's one of those things. If you got a pond full of sankies and the sumi all suddenly starts popping on them all, you'd be like, "Oh, hang on."
Yeah.
That's where my question was kind of going. At the end of the day, if you were to go, going back to the same place, you go to Sakai and you buy a nice big Sankey, 2-year-old Sankey, and you're thinking it's got the quality to grow 85 cm from those parents in the right environment. It could be challenging for GC award, but can I do anything to make everything peak at 7 years old when it's going to be 85, 90 centimeters or whatever? Is there anything we can do? Is there any manipulations we can do? This is where it comes from with soft water, hard water, getting the sumi. A fish like that, you might be talking the sumi's going to peak at 8 years. The Benny's going to peak at 3 years. The Shiroji, depending on what you do with it. So you've got different aspects of colour that you can treat the fish. So you might give it very limited colour enhancers to try and stop the Benny finishing too early. You might keep your water very soft, again, to stop the Benny finishing too early, but the sumi's then going to stay harder to bring out. So you've got influential factors you can then try and create that fish to all come together at one point in its life, or are we just all talking nonsense and that fish will do what it's going to do?
Determined by its genetic.
Determined. I think there's plenty. I think at the end of the day, that's.
But you're the one that's messed about with stuff more than anybody else. What would your experience tell you? What would you think? Is it genetically set out in stone, or do you think you can manipulate it?
I think, of course, you can. That's what a koi keeper does, isn't it? If you are looking to show a fish a type, whatever fish it is at whatever point, you can enhance the skin, the colour, everything.
People that show koi would manipulate, don't they?
Well,
they bring that fish to a peak for a show and for that season throughout that period, don't they? And they do that season upon season and then back to growth.
No, but what I'm saying is even long term, you're buying a fish like that to show at 7 years old when it's peaked as a big fish, then you've got to stop that Benny from developing. You've got to give it everything you can to control each factor to get to that end point and them all come together. That's where there's some serious skill comes in. And obviously, unfortunately, it also costs money to be able to manipulate your water and food and everything else and temperatures to do that.
But surely to God, everything when it comes to a koi, it's got to have a point where it is at its peak, and from that point, then it's either deteriorating or it's been improving to that point.
No, Benny's probably one of the few things that is like that. Sumi's not.
Well, we all have a prime, don't we? We're all at his best at a certain stage in his life, and then at that point, then as we're growing up and maturing into adulthood, and then we're at a prime, and then from that point, then we're knocking back down to deterioration.
Yeah, but if you think of a Sankey that's going to have its best body when it's 90 cm, then the Sumi you can bring up, like we've seen, Sumi you can change.
With that one, like when it came up in its fourth year,
you feed it to get that body once it starts to get to that correct length or whatever. But the bennies are probably the hardest thing to handle, because if you peak that too early and that starts to go over, it doesn't matter how good the rest of it looks at 85, 90 centimeters. If the benny's being ruined, the fish is ruined, isn't it? So yeah, I think it's all, there is so much more control we can do with the lights. Pretty magic as well. The amount of light, the intensity, like the type of light that the fish get makes a massive difference. And also the temperature you run the pond at makes a massive difference. There's no getting away with that.
Mate, but you can roll that turd in glitter. Just saying.
Even
you
a
can
turd,
make it sparkly.
You can't polish your turd, it's soft.
But that's the thing, isn't it? So if you've got an Aoki Benny Kikakuru you want to take to a show, you're not going to try and grow up for 6 years to a big fish. That fish is going to peak at 2 to 3 year old at 40 to 50 centimeters or whatever. So you've got to work at that fish totally differently to get that into the condition and the colors you want, to a Sankey that's from a jumbo line, to a Shiro that's, again, each individual fish almost needs different environments and different handling to get the best out of them.
Guys, I sent you over a link to Sakai's Bloodline, just to give an idea
of why you're buying fish from me to improve it.
Yeah, just to give an idea. So that's his parent tree. And this is readily available for everyone on his website. So
is there one single fish in there that you wouldn't want?
You know, and people just look at the likes of Mona Lisa and all the other ones, because they're the ones that are well known. But look how many bloodlines there really is. And look how many bloodlines that come off just individual koi. The selection of top quality fish he's got is only selected a set few to then go ahead with further lines on. You know.
Evening, Doctor.
But that's the thing, even there, when you look at it, so you've only got, he's using one of those fish from all those offspring from one spawning. One of those fish has made it as a parent, and obviously you can see what he's crossed it with. But yeah, again,
that's just one side. That's the Sakura bloodline. When you look over onto the Dongori bloodline, you know.
But this is.
I mean, look at that thing there on the left.
That kicks in, doesn't it? They both share the.
Yeah, and that's where he crossed them. But if you look at that Achiba he's got, man. Look at the fucking size of the top left corner, 2 down into the crashy, mate. There. Look at the body on. Look at me.
Someone chopped his tail off.
It won't fit in the shot.
But that's where some of the body of the lines come from and whatever, and it's doing things like that seems crazy.
Fucking, yeah. But the interesting ones are the top ones, I think. When you look at what he started from, you know, they would just be overlooked in the koi world now. No one would look at them at all.
No.
Yeah, from what they've been to what they are now, man, it's nuts, isn't it?
Is
Yeah, but
that Yamabuki up in the corner?
When you look at body profiles on them,
the Karashi, you mean, in top left corner, Matt?
It's tiny, so I can't really. All I can see is a yellow on it.
Yeah, Karashi.
Yeah,
Karashi guy. Karashi.
Yeah.
Is that a new chapter? Which is in 3 weeks' time. But
You can see
Dynamite
the
Achiever.
amount of good fish there, isn't it? It's mental.
Look at that.
Miss Universe, mate. That's the one I like. Look at that. Nice coochie benny. Simple 3-step.
But there you go.
Fuji on the left.
Even from that, so big rose or whatever, then it's also been crossed with a Sankey to produce all your Sankey. So you've got both blood, get the body. But yeah, they are pretty immense, aren't they?
You know, so when someone says let's talk bloodlines, it's massive, isn't it? It's like, you know, imagine, like I said earlier, there are
how many years do you think this pans over?
Oh, decades and decades, isn't it?
That's nuts.
Yeah, and don't, you know, when you look at the pictures, mate, they're probably only started in the 80s. You know, maybe a little bit later. So when you actually look at the hundreds of years some of these breeders have like derived from, just think how far back that really goes, because they wouldn't keep picture records when they first started.
You couldn't. The old Polaroids, we tried it. It's a nightmare.
They'd all be faded and fucked off, wouldn't they? By now?
Yeah, as Jonathan's there, sometimes when breeding, not the best can produce the best, vice versa. Regressive, progressive traits, line breeding, outbreeding, back crossing, and a lot of studying. A hell of a lot of studying.
But guys, if you get a chance, right, it's a bit of a risky one, but I've seen Yamabuki's parent stock. Okay, from Yamaguchi's parent stock, from the fish that he produces. When you have a look at some of the parent stock, the older they get, the more knackered they look. Some of them.
Oh, mate, yeah, I've seen that myself firsthand at some koi farms. The genetics that I've seen fish at some koi farms, and they're over here in UK. I've seen some fish there that you would not believe produce the offspring that they produce, but they're old fish.
Yeah, it's just.
But they don't. I mean, they look. I'm not saying they look like they're not. They don't look crap. They're not in bad condition. The bodies are immaculate and mint, but the patterns and everything are no longer really there as what they were years gone by.
And can you imagine if, like, can you imagine if, like, through the breeding cycle, you lose a female parent that is responsible for producing so much of your best bloodline?
Yeah, you'd be so pissed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you know. But then when you look at what the Japanese do, when you look at the Achiba, for instance, a certain bloodline that was deemed to be excellent was then pushed out to lots of breeders, and then they keep a certain set in another. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a place that overlooks that breeding cycle as a whole. So you're never going to lose that ability to see where that bloodline comes from. I do things like that in Japan as well. You know, and
that's good. That's working together, isn't it? That's sensible. That
brilliant. And I learned from the amount of farms and bloodlines that were lost through the earthquakes when they had the severe earthquakes, and that's part of what they've done in order to achieve it. But ultimately, when they bring on like a new variety that seems to do well, they'll then push it out to different breeders to try and bring it on, and then get the best from whatever the parent sets are that are put together. You know, it's a huge way of life for them.
When did a pensioner win Miss World? Well, I shall say this much, Jonathan. The oldest Miss World that's ever been out was in 1994, and she was 21.
The oldest Miss World was 21.
Oh, the oldest aged winner of Miss World was the age of 21.
How do you know that, Gaz?
I just
Googled it.
I just Googled it.
Judge. I used to judge it.
I would, yeah, I was there. I judged it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have to worry about crafting. We just go and buy new ones from Japan.
Yeah.
The progression's mental with some of those. And partly it's genetics, but it can't just be genetics when they start growing some of these massive. The way they grow them has changed massively as well.
Do you have any pics of it today? Sorry.
I think that is, again, the same thing, isn't it? You can't do it without the genetics, but once you've got the genetics, if you give them fish, when Momentary first built that 15,000-ton pond in a greenhouse and started growing meter-long-go Sankey, it was like insane. No one could do that, and he's doing it with multiple fish, and it's suddenly, well, that's not just genetics, is it? That's giving them an environment to do it. And suddenly numerous breeders are doing it, and they're not common. But yeah, meter-long-go Sankey were just unheard of, and now, yeah, multiple farms are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genetics have changed that much that it's becoming more common, isn't it? For these fish to be as big and growing bigger.
That's what I'm saying. It's not so much the genetics as the environment, isn't it? Because you can't change genetics that quickly in one spawning, but suddenly you're getting results from that spawning that are better. You can even do the same fish, and he's getting them to grow to bigger sizes. Like Momentary is using the same parent set, and by giving them better environment right through the first 5 years, so he's meat-long fish at 5 years old.
Yeah. But Torsai are eating 40 cm now, aren't they?
Most of mine did that at 6 months old at the show and grow ones. 35 centimetre at 6 months old.
Yeah, but that's crazy mad, isn't it? That's mass growth, that, isn't it?
But that's not so much genetics, that's the environment, isn't it?
Yeah, again, yeah.
So, yeah. And put the two together, it's powerful, isn't it? Good genetics, good environment, and a big wallet.
There you go. A bit more inner-fi. Cheers, Matt. That's for the ladies out there.
He's got his legs up.
They've got my shorts on.
Normally he's got
shorts, mate. You check
environment and husbandry can be changed.
I was going to stand up.
Breeding.
I was going to stand up and show you that I got my shorts on, and I realised it was my boxer shorts, and there may be a hole there.
Yeah, you're all good. You stay seated.
Yeah, we don't want any bald-eyed, one-eyed champions looking at us, mate.
Yeah, trouser snakes.
Yeah, we'll leave that to Lee.
Well then, ladies and gents, unless everybody else has got any other questions that they would like to ask, we have exhausted everything that we have. And we are at now the 3 hour 33 minutes mark. And I don't think that was a bad second live back. Other people may say different, but what I say to you is go fuck yourselves.
Always the what's the word?
Diplomatic.
Diplomatic, yeah.
Diplomatic, yeah.
The host
some like us, some don't.
Name me two people that like you.
You can't please everyone.
Nobody likes me.
Please everyone.
You can't.
You can't please everyone.
You can't please everyone, mate.
You shouldn't stop trying, though.
You can hit him with a big stick.
Yeah, but that just gets you in trouble.
Yeah, but it pleases you for the short period, doesn't it?
Nah, don't, mate.
Anybody else got any more that they'd like to have a night or a chat about? If not, I shall give you a couple of minutes, and these gentlemen may want to discuss something between themselves. Anything else?
Yeah, here's one, Matt.
There we go. See,
have you got a game plan for Japan?
Matt, do you shave your legs? Go on, back to me.
Don't drop a bollock, mate.
Do you have a game plan for Japan?
No.
I have.
Sure, yeah, I'm sure Ricky has. But no game plan whatsoever. All I know is I got a shed load of ponds to fill, and I will be filling them.
Are they all sorted now?
We ain't got liners in them yet.
No, I reckon.
You've got some fucking work on, mate.
I know. Give me a week, and they'll be up and running.
Because I had 4 months. I know you're busy, Matt. I know you're busy. I was just taking the mic. Less time on TikTok, mate. More time out there doing ponds.
Yeah, I've seen your TikTok video. I've seen one pop up on my feed today, actually.
TikTok videos. Dancing Queen.
Oh, mine.
Yeah.
I can't get
You
over
can tell it's getting cold.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I got my shorts on.
Wait, I haven't even got a boiler. It's fucking freezing in here.
What's boiler packed up? Oh my god, that's not good, mate. That's last time at year, worst time at year. Should have said that you want a boiler.
It always happens at this time of year.
My dad's packed in over there, and I had to go around. That were hard work, man.
But what temperature's your fish pond, Crafty?
Don't know, mate. You can't tell from here. It's cold.
You not got a heat pump running?
No, I'm not running it.
Ooh, chill.
Yeah, I'm on a big chill. Technically, Rick, from what you said the other week. Sorry, mate. Go on.
So I've got one fish starting to lie.
Have you? See, that's what I said last year. That's what I had when it got as cold as this last year. I had a couple. Well, I had one, the big one from Jeff's were lying over. This year, nothing. Everything's fine. I mean, technically, mine should be
yesterday.
Dead.
I put the net in yesterday to bring it up, and it fucking self-righted, swam, and then went. Had another kip. I thought, okay, we'll leave that be.
Don't like it, do they?
No, admittedly, Rick, they don't like it. I'm not saying for any minute that they like it, but it's what do you do when it's -12?
I don't know, mate.
Got a deep enough pond. Sit at 4 degrees.
All over it and get your burners going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, that would be the other thing, wouldn't it? To wait for this guy to develop this special thing where they just quickly pop up over and what have you, and just
Matt's on it.
Yeah, he ain't even done his own ponds.
Yeah, you're too busy doing pop-up pond covers for people.
It's definitely in the progress. That's all I'm going to say.
You make it like those tents where you just go bling it and it goes ba-dong, straight over your pond.
Dave says there, why is it the big that seem to lie? Well, yeah, to be fair, mate, that was the biggest fish in my pond, and that was the one that lied over last year. But this year, it ain't bothered at all.
It's not my big. It's not one of my big ones that's lying either.
Is it not? But I suppose it depends what your class is.
To be honest, I would expect the Shiro to be a little bit more reactive to the coldness.
My Shuro's fine, mate.
Yeah, mine are as well, mate.
I've still seen mine swimming around. Yesterday, they were still swimming about, and I went out this evening, and they all just swam away nice and steady, went up towards the drain when I stopped and stepped back a little bit. They all just come back up and just park back up again.
Yep. Actually, Rick, I was talking to somebody today that was been up to see you, and he said the best fish that he saw he wanted to buy, and then you disappointed him by saying it belonged to me.
Was that by any chance a Aragoki?
It was.
Yeah, still in the soul pond at the minute.
Did you buy it on auction by any chance, Matt?
You got bullied into it.
You get bidded up by any chance, Matt?
No such thing as bidding up. You just what?
Fuck off.
I'm pretty sure that Ryan literally said, "Come on, Mr. Big Wallet, get your cash out." I'm sure he bidded you up there.
The words were, "Show me your power."
That was it. Yeah, that was it.
That's exactly what they say in Japan. Show me your power.
No, I got Rick there with me. I'm not speaking or saying anything. I'm just speak to my gimp.
Rick turned around and said, that's it, that's high enough, and you carried on.
It was a worthy cause.
Not so secret because everybody were pointing at you. Right then, ladies and gents, that is it for this evening. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Usual thing, guys. If you've been enjoying this kind of content, do us a huge favor. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend. And until next week, and on the next one, we'll catch you all later on. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
3, 2, 1.
Cricket bat.
Hey, there we go. Good night, all.
Good night.